Welcome, everybody, to the Nottaku podcast. Today's podcast is a very special podcast. It is the 1 year anniversary podcast. I've said podcast 4 times in the past sentence.
Oh shit, it's everywhere. Oh no.
Can you believe we've been doing this for 1 year? Well, some of us have.
I mean, I haven't.
Hence some. I can't believe we've been doing this for a year. Isn't that right, original founders?
Yeah, I've got Fallon right here, don't I?
Hey!
Welcome back,
so
original
sorry.
founder.
I can't even remember the name of the other person that did the first podcast.
You mean Lewis, right?
No. Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Like there
yeah,
was
good
only
point.
4.
Oh, I thought there was 5. I'm so used
No,
to
there was
5.
4 of us.
Wow.
Alright, my bad.
Anyway, thanks to that blast from the
Blast from the blast.
Fucking blast from my ass. Thank you very much there, Hugh. I'm actually quite grateful for the fact that we were able to keep this up for a year. It might not have been the most consistent journey, but it sure was a fun one. And what are we doing to celebrate it, Alastair?
Well, to celebrate the 1 year anniversary, considering that we have 2 people who have now become part of the main crew that weren't on that original podcast,
Ben and Lewis, got it.
Fuck off.
and also, as we know, Ben's opinions change every 5 seconds.
Fuck off as well.
It's every 3, please.
To be fair, Alastair, you're not, pot, Mr. Black, he's kettle.
You butchered
True.
that.
You really did
and
not do well on that one.
my opinions
Shut the
change
fuck up.
occasionally. And since we've actually gotten better at doing these podcasts, we've decided to remake the first podcast and go through our top 5s again.
So which one's Fallon?
Me.
Alright.
Wow.
You said that too quickly.
Wow.
Do you know, guys, I've realised something about the podcast.
What?
It's old enough to drink now.
Oh, our little precious baby gets his first whiskey.
Right.
Wait, how is it old enough to drink? It's 1 year old.
Here you go, channel.
Welcome to Scotland!
Enjoy your first pint. To be fair, Alastair will be going through his midlife crisis by 19, so have some fucking sympathy.
Wow. Oh dear.
I now have 3 open bottles of alcohol.
That's
Nobody
nice.
gets to work on them.
I've got about maybe a 1/6 of a glass of orange squash.
You living it fucking
really-
large.
You
Now
really
it's
want to be telling the internet about your alcohol habits?
Now it's a
Oh,
7th of
no.
a glass.
I'm having a Godfather, also a drink.
It's not as good as your earlier joke, mate.
Would people like to introduce themselves? Because
Hello, my name is Lewis. I am the anime equivalent of a Watch Mojo top 5 list. I will betray your anime.
You actually stole my one.
That's always good.
Like a ninja!
Oh dear.
Wait, was that in many ways the top 5 anime betrayal? Oh!
Oh dear. My name's Hugh. Oh, for God's sake.
Sorry.
I'm Hugh. I'm the podcast equivalent of a 1 year anniversary of a high school romance. Let's be honest, I'm not going to be around for very long.
Oh, Hugh.
Wow.
I was expecting non-existent because it never gets to 1 year, but
I'm loud enough to not be non-existent, let's be honest.
Hang on, let me just server mute him again.
Thanks, man.
I'm Ben. I'm the equivalent of the 1 year anniversary in a relationship. You care about it a lot and put more effort into the 50th, even though you really shouldn't.
Oh, God.
Well done.
I am Joe, and I'm the podcast equivalent of a Dragon Ball Z countdown. 5 minutes is actually 30 episodes.
Oh my God, these are some fucking depressing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've started a trend. I'm so sorry.
Let me redo mine. I'm Ben, and I'm slitting my wrist.
I had many in the car yesterday and I forgot most of them.
Mine was stolen.
Grand Maestro host. What are you the equivalent of?
So, I am Alastair, I'm the host of this podcast, and I decided not to think of one this time round, because instead I wanted to say a piece of, I am really happy that we've managed to do my pipe dream of a podcast, and make it last for 1 year, and it's good, and I hope we can keep going for many more years.
We shall. We shall. Stop clapping.
You hear that,
associate
one
member.
fan? You can't get rid of us.
Yeah, I'll say, Hugh, that associate members don't get to clap the 1 year anniversary just yet.
I'm sorry.
You're not,
It's only
You have to wait until midsummer when we get to the fake cast. And
What do we get to do for our anniversaries, Hugh?
I think we can go to Bristol and get my car stolen again.
Ooh, lovely.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh, shout out to that one person in Bristol who stole Hugh's car.
Woo! Turns out he's
You
also
are
into anime.
on my list.
It was me, Austin.
God.
He just covered it in leaves.
Yeah, I was going to
well,
say.
anyway, considering how long this podcast will probably take, considering we have to get through 25 shows this time and not just 20, should we
Don't
get this
off-put
ball
the
rolling?
audience already.
Anyway, shall we start?
Yeah, we are all doing top 5, so that should be pretty cool. Should I just fly away and get this show on the road? So, I get the honor of beginning. Now, listeners, you probably don't know me. Statistically, you do. But basically, when it comes to anime, I don't change my mind all that often. So consequently, if you want to hear some more developed opinions, perhaps, on some of these shows, the first podcast will do you fine. That being said, my number 5 position is the one that has actually managed to change over the course of the past year. Rather than explaining myself again and again, one thing which I thought I'd just say is what I like in an anime. As this was explained to me by a few ex-members of the Anime Society, in that apparently I can take anything with a decent setting, at least 2 good characters, usually quite a dark tone or mood, and ultimately the plot can kind of go die, as long as all those aspects work for me. My number 5 encapsulate this as my number 5 is Mirai Nikki, which has supplanted Baccano as my number 5 favourite over the course of the past year. I watched it with Ben and a couple of others a couple of years ago, and I'm sure that Ben can remember the gleeful look on my face as I watched the entire fucking murder fest of a show. The challenge I set myself when I started thinking about what my number 5 would be is, which is the one that I would watch again if a gun was put to my head, and, I wouldn't have to shoot myself again like Big Order. But also, what would I show to other people? And I'd have to choose the gore-filled fest that is Mirai Nikki. It's mental, the characters are bombastic, the setting is absolutely crazy, and people essentially just murder each other by using cell phones that can tell the future in various different ways. It's like JoJo levels of specific superpowers, except most people are getting machine gunned down, apart from Cooking Mama, which is a problem. And the character designs are inspired, and I reckon it's probably about half the reason to why I can tolerate Big Order as much as I can.
I remember the first time I watched Mirai Nikki, and I'm like, why does everyone like this? And then, 23 episodes in 2 days, I'm like, so that's why.
Yeah, we pretty much did the
right.
same thing. It's one of the few anime that I actually own on Blu-ray. I'm looking at it now, and it's very nice. It's just very well executed. The premise is a bit fucked, but as we'll discover, through quite a few of my shows, a fucked premise rarely actually makes that much of a difference for me. It's just quite an interesting premise. It's just, like people who look into the future using cell phones, murdering each other, and there's just lots of tits and violence, which is, everything I want in an anime, really, and a woman. It's got some good action scenes in it. It's got some surprisingly emotive bits, even if every character is, batshit insane. Like the dad who murders the mum to take a spare parachute in case his doesn't work, and then his son forgives him, and then gets murdered. That is just an episode-long plotline that happens in Mirai Nikki. That's just a thing that happens.
I forgot that even happened.
And there's Ben. There goes Ben.
Yeah, and he kills the wife so he can keep the spare. Not so he can take a parachute.
No, he kills the wife because he lands and she's like, "Where's your son?" And he's like, "Stop yelling at me," and stabs her.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Oh, was it the son he stole the parachute from?
Yeah, he
Right.
stole the parachute from his son, and then his wife's like, "Why are you parachuting without your son?" And then he just stabs her.
It's that kind of
Unreasonable
show.
response.
It's that kind of show, and I can really get on with it. Deus is a fantastic character, and they actually do the albino, gay Kaoru character really fucking well in this, as he's basically a homunculi made by a god who's operating the most weirdly manually steered car that the universe has ever seen.
Oh, he was great.
He was great. No, unfortunately, Gasly, was for a long time waifu material. Then Ben had to point out to me, unfortunately, much like how I've ripped him for years on Oscar from Evangelion, she is in fact 14. She technically ages 2 years in time travel, so she is 16.
I do remember. I do genuinely. When you were sat there, and I was like, Ben can remember the moment of glee on my face. My first thought was, I more remember the moment of genuine horror when I just sat there and went, she's 14, mate.
Yeah, and the thing is I was disbelieving. Then I remembered this is the Big Order guy, so I wasn't that disbelieving. And then a quick Google search later, and my hopes were immediately dashed. Kasa is a really great character, mind you. I do still quite like her a fair bit.
There's a reason why she's the archetypal yandere. There's a reason why she persists to this day as
she is
the character.
She is the yandere. And they actually do what most shows don't with their yandere, where they explore why they've got a bit mental, because their mum kept them locked in a cage.
and how do you deal with being locked in a cage? Easy. You lock your past self and your other parents in a cage.
In a cage. Wait for them to starve to death, then bury them deep.
Not deep enough, though.
No, not
Never
deep
deep enough.
I like the Sentai Squad.
Yeah, the Sentai Squad.
Yeah.
The blind Sentai Squad are pretty cool. So yeah, that's Mirai Nikki. It's not even dumb fun. It's actually quite intelligent fun from time to time. It's like Death Note, but they actually got the memo and decided that they could bring guns to the fight.
Yeah, it's a good the thing that sells me on that show a lot is just the characters. Like you said, the characters are just fantastic and what makes that show.
So yeah, there we go. I'd say the main characters carry it quite a lot, and then just the peripheral characters are actually quite well developed.
Out of interest, which are the ones that really come to mind out of characters you like in that show, Lewis? Just from disregarding side characters of the 12 contestants.
Of the 12 contestants, fucking, I lost an eye, so therefore Big Boss Girl is very lovely, because she ends up having... If I'm being honest, all the characters are quite good. Cooking Mama was fun to hate.
It was me and you sat there like, why is she
oh my
in this
god,
show?
she was awful.
She's the one character design that doesn't fit as well.
There was Cancer Victim Mayor, who I remembered quite well. Dog Guy, who was only in the show for an episode, but encapsulated the series completely when he just wanted to feed his dogs good food and did not give a fuck about his children.
It's the moment where it's the moment where he's just like, you stupid bitch, I'm evil.
That episode is the episode that made me realise that Mirai Nikki was really good. It went from being hey, this is pretty awesome. I like the first episode a lot. That episode's the one where I sat down and went, oh no, this is bonkers, and I love it.
If I'm actually being honest, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually cannot think of a single weak character among the dozen. Not a single one.
Well, it has so many subtle bits in it as well, which is nice.
Like
the fact that the killer in the first episode is the teacher.
Yeah, but they never tell you.
But they never tell you. All you get is in the next episode, Mr. Ooga Booga hasn't shown up today.
And he's got a weird haircut and is a terrible teacher.
Yeah. And it's like, he's not shown up today, he must be off ill. And that's the whole comment, and the rest is left for you to work out.
Yeah.
It's him.
As I say, it's very tempting to call it dumb fun, but it's not that dumb at all, is the thing. As I say,
it's bonkers fun.
It's bonkers, it's bonkers fun.
Clever.
It is bonkers fun. And I just like how many people get really bloodily murdered in this show. This show does not give a fuck. It will absolutely massacre people. The ending's a bit weird. I liked it. I know a lot of people didn't, but I actually quite liked it.
Are you counting the OVA ending?
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
OVA-ish.
No. The OVA ending, I know a lot of people didn't really like that. I quite liked it, actually. I think it encapsulated the mental nature of the show quite adequately, so yeah.
I prefer the show with the OVA ending than without it.
Yeah, they did the OVA ending because people were disappointed by the ambiguity of the other ending and also the kind of depressingness of it. And in the, I forgot what it was originally, light novel or whatever, obviously there was the proper ending.
It was a manga.
Yeah. So there were people saying, read the manga for the proper ending, and then there were those that are like, why does it have to end on such a depressing note? So they decided to actually do the ending, but they did it as an OVA, which on one hand, I'm kind of like, you could have included it in the show originally, but on the other hand, I really like it because it's we wanted to try and go a different route, leave it up to the viewer, people clearly didn't like it. We corrected that from feedback, which is pretty good of a studio to do.
Nah, make it depressing. It's fine. Make your show's ending as depressing as possible. Just go for it.
I'd
No, to be fair, yeah.
I'd argue they didn't stick to their guns necessarily, but they're fortunate that it was well executed. Also, sorry, I'm going on this one a fair bit, but the other four aren't going to be talked about at all, basically. The other thing which I really
this isn't a fair bit, Lewis. Don't worry.
That's all right.
It's content, boy.
The other thing which I really like about it, its opening makes me feel like murdering something like Hotline Miami, which is it does a very good job of getting you pumped for murder, featuring Ninja Turtle at the end of it. The ending's very good, and it's got one of my favorite things, which I wish more anime did, which is post-credits gag scenes.
Yeah.
Where it will just go, fuck the episode, fuck the toad, we're past the credits, and it will run a 30-second gag scene from the show. Some of them last a fairly long while. Most of them are Deus just getting fucked off at things. But my favourite one is where Yuno goes to the past, and then her little fucking helper baby decides that, we're going to make her a bit older to, compensate for the fact that she's supposed to be like that. And they go through the fact that first she's too tall, then she's too short, then her tits are too big, then she's too small again. And they keep trying to go back in time to get it right again.
Oh, there's also the one where they where she tries to help attract Yuki, and she's like, we just gotta find his fetish, and she shows up wearing a China dress, she shows up wearing a nice dress, she shows up wearing a schoolgirl outfit, then she shows up in a BDSM outfit, then she shows up in a furry suit, and every time he's just getting progressively more like, what the fuck is wrong with her?
Yeah. Oh, also, another thing about their relationship, I like the fact they are just boyfriend and girlfriend for the vast majority of the show. Sure, she kidnaps him once, but,
Only once.
Only once and keeps him in a drug-filled coma. Who hasn't been through that? And afterwards, he was a bit annoyed at her. And then they start going out again. They go to the water park, and they make out and shit. It's like a real relationship.
Yuki.
But yeah, so that's my number 5. There are a few honorable mentions. They don't get to be mentioned.
Rip back a no that you already mentioned.
Yeah, it just didn't hold. It didn't hold up to the rewatch test. I like the first 9 episodes. Just the rest of it isn't that good.
It may still get mentioned regardless.
Whoa!
Spoilers!
What is this future spoiler? Joe, what's your number 5 anime?
My number 5 spot goes to Black Lagoon, which I've talked about fairly recently on the casual cast.
The Casual cast.
It pushes most of my buttons when it comes to a good show for me. It's not intelligent dumb fun like those one. It is bonkers dumb fun. As you know, it's set in a fictional city of Roanapa, set in Thailand, where it just follows the Lagoon Company, who is a pirate, smuggling, murder. They're basically mercenary. You pay, they do whatever you want to, and it just shows their shenanigans usually through the perspective of Rokuro Kajima, a character who is kidnapped while transporting data for his company. I think it was on nuclear device or something on the first episode. But
I'm not sure if they mention it, but it's some important shit.
Yeah, and basically he is left to die by the company because they can't be associated with that anymore. At which point he says, "Fuck it, I'll go with the pirates then and develop wonderful Stockholm syndrome." Yeah, hilarity ensues. You got your main cast of, as I said, Rock, Revi, Two Hands, who is the female side protagonist. She's the main character alongside Rock, and who is generally the insane character who will go around gunning everything down and usual. Then you have Benny, who is the tech savvy character and the driver of the boat. He doesn't get a whole lot to him, but other than that, he just drives the boat and it says the occasional quip and generally gets shit on by everyone else. Reasons I love the show so much is the over-the-top hammy action. You're never not going to be enjoying what's happening. It's bombastic, there's explosions, tits,
Tits and violence.
Tits and violence.
The ultimate anime.
Yes. And the way that the series works in its arcs means that you can kind of drop in and out of it wherever you want to, but they're always really interesting. You're always focusing on the screen really nicely, and the dub is absolutely wonderful for it. It's one of the 3 of my shows that I'm bringing today are actually dubs, so I've kind of betrayed most anime fans there, but that's okay.
I was going to say, statistically, Joe, you've not betrayed this podcast if over half of yours are dubs.
Hey.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, another thing I do really like about it is, while most of the characters are insane, they're also completely like human, except for 2-ish characters.
They're
three
very well
characters.
fleshed out. They're very well fleshed out.
Yeah, everyone gets plenty of time to develop and everything. And I don't mean human in the character sense. I mean in the literal sense.
They're very inhumane.
They're inhumane, but no characters have like superpowers except for the maid Terminator, Roberta.
Oh, yep. I'd argue that Chinglish has got some kind of superpower going for her.
Nah.
Roberta isn't even the Terminator. She just has a fucking bulletproof umbrella shotgun.
No, you gotta start thinking of her like the Terminator.
Yeah.
That is actually a line from the show.
I do not remember this line.
Yeah, it's when they're being chased by her.
She's
Yeah.
literally running after them in the car, and they're driving full speed. She's keeping up with them pace for pace, and it just shows the ridiculous of everything that goes on.
I think my favourite character is Chainsaw Lady.
Oh yeah, Sawyer.
Yeah, I like her. I like her a lot.
Shows up in about 60% of the episodes, and you have no idea who she is until the one where they do the face reveal, and at which point every character on screen also goes, "Who the hell is this? Anyone? Oh, that one! Oh, she cuts up the bodies that we leave behind. Right.
She's a lovely girl.
And I think that it's always rewatchable. Like, I've got to have seen it about 4 or 5 times so far, all the way through, including the 5-part OVA, ending the series. I say ending; it is still due for more. We're just not sure when exactly. It's supposed to be being carried on at the moment. I haven't seen a release in a while.
I must say, the first season is quite a bit stronger than the second.
Yeah, somewhat. I like the closer focus it has on Rock, Revy, and Balalaika. It just narrows it down to its 3 strongest characters, I'd say, and it just works with them for a good long while.
It also doesn't help that a lot of it's not set around Anapur, which kind of is a main character.
I guess the villainous hive of scum and I fucked even the Souls lineup shit.
The villainous hive of scum and yes,
villainy, and yes, but I don't know. I think it more just it speaks towards the cast, is the fact that they are a shipping company. They do have to go out and about and everywhere to do all of this.
Oh yeah, no, it's not bad. It's just that like Rohanapur is so good.
It is. I do love it. I think my favorite episode set is the one with the Indian lady where she's forging the fake banknotes, and everyone gets involved in it just because they all want the chance to get free money.
And it's just a chase through the city you've gotten to know quite well, with half of the cast all involved in one episode.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also the lolly vampires, which is the most dark and horrible shit I've ever seen.
Yep, the lolly incestuous vampire twins.
That is a nightmarish episode.
Yep, it's definitely the only time the series goes really, really in that direction. And it does break the tone slightly, but on the other hand, it's
worth it.
It's definitely worth it, and it serves as a nice reminder of just like no one here is a good person either.
No, it's fucked. I also love Black Lagoon. I watched it with Joe. Yeah. Very, very good.
It's a very good show. It's one that I always get very Hellsing vibes from. Oddly enough, I also kind of, and I think it's more because of a testament of the time period more than the actual show, I kind of get Cowboy Bebop feels from the sort of villain of the week and episodic, but almost like serious, gritty at points, more in its brutality than in Cowboy Bebop, but in its sort of like ability to go from that seriousness to the brutal bloodbath. Not seriousness, sorry, the jokiness to the brutal bloodbath.
That's definitely very Hellsing, what you've described as well, with like lots of like quirky jokes and then absolute bloodbaths. Also, you do fight Nazis in it, and there's Romanians. It's basically Hellsing. Wait, there's a bitch with 2 guns. My God.
And she has something red.
And she is red. But It's a tour de force of character action, and the setting is so good. It's like if someone took Shadowrun, squeezed it out, then dropped it on the middle of East Asia.
I was going to say something similar because I do just love how like all the characters also just know each other, and that one of them will just be shooting the shit out of each other, and then they will be shooting shit at each other in a bar, and it's just absolutely brilliant, and it is very Shadowrun-esque, as you say.
I love how the bar gets utterly annihilated every episode it appears in. That guy's got it. There's even a line about how he's got it ridiculously insured.
Yep, and if you guys don't pay the excess, he will weld your assholes shut.
To be fair, the Irish driver is also the best character of the entire thing.
Yes.
It's the getaway driver who's constantly high and is convinced he can hear Jesus. He got to heaven, he no come down.
And he is, in fact, piloting the Millennium Falcon with Chewbacca.
Yep. It's a good mental show.
God, it's been too long since I've seen this show, because you keep saying things and I don't remember it at all.
Well, I'm happy to watch it anytime, so...
You've made me want to rewatch it, so...
Right, that pretty much sums up my part for this, so if we get on to our next one, Ben, you're up.
Oh no, it's Benny.
Ben, baton!
No! Not Deb.
Pick it up!
My fifth in my top 5 is Sakura-so no Pet Nakanojo, or The Pet Girl of Sakura-so.
I remember this.
It is about a school dorm where the delinquents as such of the school stay, or those that cannot stay in regular dorms. However, they are all normal, lovely people, and they each have their own little quirks mentally or physically, and just try and get on and live in this dorm together. When one girl moves in who cannot care for herself at all and is an incredibly talented artist, but that's all she's good at, and the main character gets put on Sheena duty, as her name is Sheena, and has to look after her and what ensues from it. The normal character is just the main character is just a normal guy as such, while everyone else around him seems to have something special about them. For this show, personally, more than anything, I found it to be a really genuinely fun and touching show to watch. It was a beautiful romance show, but more than anything, it's a story about the bond between friends and all the wild times and real unexpected stuff that they can get up to together. Like, a big theme throughout the whole story is dreams and dreams of youth, as Sheena constantly asks Sorata and the others that she's living with, what do you want to be? And everyone has their dreams when they're growing up, like I'm sure all of you have, and, you know, like I certainly did, and mine happens to fall perfectly in line with the main character Sorata's, of he wanted to grow up and make games, which immediately drew me to him and made him more personable. But what a person's dreams are will come to define that person's identity when they grow up in some ways. And many people give up on this throughout their life because they'll say it's too hard, it's impossible, they can't possibly do it. And Sorata is certainly this sort of character. He gets crushed over and over again trying to make video games throughout the series and seemingly loses everything as he's surrounded by all these people that are perfect at what they do. Sheena can't function as a human, but she can paint perfectly and amazingly. She's in galleries. She's fantastic. And then there's other characters around that are writing screenplays, creating animes out of thin air, pretty much as far as he can see. And he's just sat there working his hardest and still failing. And so he loses all hope, and that's something that's easily relatable to when reaching for a dream or some kind, and I can easily relate due to having the same sort of dream growing up. And with this hope that's something hard to come by, you need some form of motivational reason to really push you through, be it your own determination or something else. And Sorata finds that something else. His motivation is Sheena in the story, and that's where the true rom-com comes out and grabs your heart and your full attention, as he teaches this girl to live on her own, teaches her to be able to stand on her own 2 feet in real life, and she teaches him not to give up and to keep going despite all the hardships, and they share some genuine, brilliant moments together, and you see them both grow greatly as people. Not that this is entirely a sap fest, it's a comedy through and through as well, and the comedy on the show is on point, had me laughing like I've fallen off my chair laughing practically the whole way through, and that's not something that shows do easily for me. Like, I'll laugh a lot, as you've seen in this podcast and all that crap, but getting me, like, truly laughing at a show is something more difficult than laughing at other people, and that's where the show shines. It makes the people, it brings them so alive. And it really, for anyone that's ever struggled with a dream or wanted to attain anything, and seeing Sora to do that and fight through these things, you just relate to the characters so much more. And that's why the show, for me, has much more of a special place than I think it would to others. But I still think it's a damn good rom-com as a whole. And it's really funny and really interesting, and all of the characters are really well fleshed out. And I just really like the show.
You see, Ben, it's an interesting one, because I took a very different thing away from it.
Oh, yeah?
Because I like the show a lot as well. I really enjoyed the show. It's one of the first ones I watched, I think within like a year of starting anime watching. I took it away as more of a kind of story about learning to deal with the fact that you're not as talented as you probably want to be, and yet that maybe shouldn't still stop you, even if others around you are really, really talented.
Yeah, that's really fair. That's like, I can see how you could come away with that same sort of thing from that show.
Because that's what I saw with it. Because no, I agree with you on pretty much every point you've made. It is an excellent show. It is exceptionally funny, and it has just got kind of some of the best character dynamics I think I've seen in kind of these kind of light novel rom-coms. Because it's so rare to see a light novel rom-com actually do characters well, and not just have the side character whose name you entirely forget after like the third episode.
Exactly, and it keeps such a razor-sharp focus on the main cast as well. You don't get that many side characters introduced, and that's one thing that always shocks me when I go back and rewatch it, is how it can have such a focus on like 8 characters, but you're not bored.
Yeah, I can only think of like 3 extra characters they add. They add long-haired computer dude, foreign girl, and little sister, and that's kind of about it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, that's it. No, that's it.
I was just gonna, because the thing is, interesting enough, I also like the show, but I also like it for a third reason, which for me, like what I took most from this was the rom-com aspect of it, because I'm a big fan of rom-com shows, as we'll get onto later. But I've been looking for a long time to find a romantic comedy that even came close to the level of my favorite romantic comedy. And I'd been looking for a while, and I was struggling finding stuff. And then, Ben, when you mentioned this last year, I checked it out and enjoyed it completely. It is a really good show with a nice mix of, it does have those emotional moments, but then also has a lot of good comedic moments that like add to it. And because you have that nice mixture and balance of comedic moments and emotional moments, the comedic moments are funnier and the emotional moments hit harder. It like, the only thing that I like disappoints me is the fact that I know there's more, because I know the anime doesn't cover the entirety of the light novel, and I'm like, I kind of want to know what the rest of it is. Not that the anime itself actually concludes quite well. Like, the ending to the anime is quite a satisfactory conclusion. You could just leave it there.
Well, but leaves it nice and ambiguous, where you can basically pick up in your head the story and what's going to happen from there, because it leaves it in a situation where there could be more, but it's a great place to leave it nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they left it there, if they had to leave it halfway through, but I'm still interested to see what the rest of the story is.
Oh, yeah, if they did a second season, I would dive on that like crazy.
I think they've only got like 3 more volumes left, though, so it's like a 12-episode would be it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is, I think it's better to leave it where it is, because it leaves it with the entire ambiguity of, you can make up what happens with them next, because everyone has their plans. They leave it in a situation where people's arcs are pretty much fulfilled, and it goes into the next semester of school and the next semester of their lives almost at that point, because they've, like, the show's accomplished what it needed to do by that point, and anything extra would just be a bonus. For me, anyway.
That's why you go read the light novel if you want to know more.
Not published in the UK.
Yeah.
Just go steal it.
Just go get it off a fan translation.
But if you want to, Ben, you can read a lot of Shield Hero.
Oh no. All the Shield
I
Hero.
can confirm 13 volumes of Shield Hero are published physically in the UK.
I can confirm Raftalia is not best pet girl, Masha Oshina is.
Yes, she is,
Just
100%.
before we hop off this one, I just wanted to say, and I'm not kidding, this may sound like an unironic joke, it's nice to hear of another show where characters' dreams get crushed into fucking dust. Because I'm sick and fucking tired of shows where characters just get to achieve their dreams with no effort whatsoever. It's nice to hear someone actually struggle for it.
Hey Ben, should we spoil the fact that he kind of gets those dreams somewhat happening?
Well, he does it because he teams up with the people of Amazing Geniuses, is the thing. But he genuinely spends ages trying out, practicing every night, working his hardest to make a video game, and doesn't even get through round 1 of the competition he's entering.
I'm fine with that. It's a shame that they eventually give it to him because he surrounds himself.
Well, they
with
don't give
wealthy
it to him.
people.
They don't give it to him fully. He works at it with other people, and they do something great for the school.
No,
It's-
I know. No, I know.
But it gives
I
him
get you.
it gives him the drive to keep going as well, because it shows him he can do something with it, despite the fact that he's
Yeah,
not.
that was more what I meant.
It's the fact that he actually has to work for it rather than it's just given to him.
That was more what I meant. I'm just I'm sick and tired of shows where people just get given things and then people look at the show like they earned it, like fucking like Naruto, My Hero Academia, shit like that. Where it's just I hate the themes of those shows so much. This sounds good.
Naruto, in its defense, it's gone to the shit. It started off proper with that. It did start off like they every character had to work for everything.
My life started off well. Look at me now.
You're on an anime podcast.
I love how that comment actually is a nice segue onto my number 5 pick, but it's not my turn yet.
I mean, it can be. Alastair, what's your number 5
Alastair,
pick?
your number 5 pick, Naruto. Go.
Go. What's your number 5 pick, Alastair?
Are we really doing me next now?
Absolutely. You've segued in nicely. What is it, boy?
I'm the
So-
champion of the ninja.
Yeah, my number 5 pick is also about a show where a character has to work really, really hard to get his dream. That he so far hasn't really gotten yet. Well, kind of has, but
But
not.
what is that dream, Alastair?
It's a big dream. But before
Oh yeah, it's 2 very big dreams.
I was going to make the joke if you didn't, Huey.
Do go ahead, Alastair.
So before I get onto my show, I just want to say that before I did this, the main question I asked myself with this top 5 thing is, what are the shows that I absolutely am in love with? Like, that's the main question. It's not about, I haven't really looked that much into quality. It's more of the shows that made me feel something and made me actually fall in love with them and whatnot. You will understand this when I reveal what my number 5 pick is. Because my number 5 pick, and I decided to stop kidding myself and stop lying to myself and decided to give in to the fact that I do like the show way too much. That is High School DxD.
Woo! It happened.
It happened. It's a thing.
You
Well
acknowledged
done.
it in your top 5.
It's
So
finally happened, Bart.
it's finally happened. Contrary to popular belief, the show does actually have a plot.
Well,
Yeah,
they have plot, but we'll do.
both of them.
Both
We've already
type-
made the joke.
Shut the fuck up! I didn't get the joke the first time round. I get to make my own.
So
Give him brace.
Long story short.
Naruto.
Alastair, continue.
long story short, you take a lovable idiot pervert of a main character who finally gets a girlfriend, even though he really shouldn't have and should be seeing red flags right now, gets killed by said girlfriend and gets brought back to life as a devil by a hot red-haired chick, which basically moves the story on from there. And once he gets this ability to now be a devil and basically gets told if he works up the devil ranks and does all the things that he's supposed to and does devil jobs and all of that sort of stuff, he eventually can fulfill his dream however he wishes. His dream is to become harem king, because of course this is an ecchi show and it's a harem show, so of course that's going to be his dream. But the thing about the show that is surprising about all of it is the fact that yes, it is an ecchi harem show, but for somehow it has managed to be the best ecchi harem show in existence, in my opinion anyway. And it doesn't just do it as the best, it is the best by a mile. And to prove that that it's that level is the fact that so many shows, so many other stories have tried to copy what High School DxD has done and failed miserably every single time they've tried to do it because they don't quite get what made High School DxD work. And it's not just one thing, it's a bunch of different things. I would say the main thing that it works is because the way the main character is done. Because the main character, Issei, is done in a very innocent way. Yes, he's a pervert. Yes, he's the main character, but he doesn't physically ever initiate anything. He's way too nervous, way too shy to do anything towards any of the women, and it's always the women that initiate it, which basically means that I'm going to use this word because the other shows do feel like it, which is it's less rapey. Because the other shows have it where the main character is quite powerful, and when when some stuff starts to happen, it feels like the main character is basically being rapey, which is very off-putting and is turns you away. Whereas High School DxD doesn't do that. But then High School DxD, along with the fan servicey stuff that it does have, and I would say probably attracts 50% of its audience, if not most of it. The reason most of the people stay with it is because it actually has quite intriguing and interesting plot and a story to follow, and the characters in the show are all very interesting and have their own problems and issues and dilemmas that they want to solve, and their own development, and that's why people stay. Because a lot of these ecchi shows last for a season and they're done. Whereas High School DxD has now got 4 seasons. There's a reason it has 4 seasons, and that's because people want to continue with the plot. And no more, which is why I say season 4 isn't as bad as people say it is, because they say, the art style's different. It doesn't matter, because High School DxD season 4, if you're continuing that long, you care about the plot. And High School DxD season 4 continues the plot in a really good way, and it's just you're now following this to a larger extent and keep going and wanting to know more about these characters and their character development. And yeah, and there's a character in it for everybody. Pick your waifu.
I want the one with the big boobs.
Yes.
Which one? See, funnily enough, I started High School DxD because I saw one of the fight scenes in it from a later series. I can't remember which series it is, but it's where he's in an arena and he goes full armor. I think he's fighting Rias's dad or something. I don't.
End of the first season, I believe.
Oh, maybe. But I saw that, and I was like, oh shit, this show looks great. And yeah, of course, young teenage Ben had that little bit in the back of his mind, these girls are hot, but
wait, these aren't men.
But,
wait a minute.
So I went in and I watched the first episode, and I was like, oh, this is more risque than I realised. And it was the most sort of that show I'd ever watched before. It was the first proper ecchi show I'd watched. And I would have stopped watching if it was just pure ecchi, because I'd have felt like I was watching, porn or something at that point. And the worry of, your parents walking in or whatever, because I was still living with them and whatnot. It's I don't want to risk this happening. But I kept getting dragged in because I was interested in the characters and interested in stuff that was going on. And yeah, sometimes it can go to an extreme and stuff, like you say, but I think you hit the nail on the head of why it's lasted longer than any others, because the story is genuinely interesting.
Yeah, there's a reason why I've gone away and I've read 18 out of the 25 light novels. You wouldn't be reading the light novels if you were just interested in the show, because you don't really get that much of it. Well, you read about it, but it doesn't really have the same effect reading about fan service than you do seeing it. You read it because you're interested in the plot and what happens. And to the point where I hope they do a 5th season, because the 5th season would cap it off quite nicely of the first arc of the story. And generally, stuff happens in the 5th season that's quite shocking and unexpected. And I don't want to say what they are because they're massive spoilers, but
they're massive, all right.
Cool.
I know this is probably one of the biggest spoilers I could possibly ever say if I said it, so I'm not going to say it. But stuff generally happens in it that's quite shocking, and I didn't believe actually happened when I read it.
I was also confused when that man crawled into his ass.
God damn it, Ned Stark, why did you resummon this time and crawl inside of Rias's asshole?
That's right. It's the second podcast in a row with a Ned Stark joke.
I'll keep the train coming, boy.
Let's go, Scene Bean.
Yeah, can I give a shout out to the first ED of High School DxD?
Oh, Study's great.
Which is fucking amazing, and the graphics of everyone with the playing cards going, and them all like taking their turns on like the pole going around and stuff. It just all works so well for the show, and the song is fantastic.
It's very good.
I just like the music. I was listening to it this morning.
Yeah, no, Study's a great ED. The thing that makes it really confusing is because you know how they use the playing card thing later on, which is in the anime. Later on, because the Devils use their system of making new Devils by using chess pieces, essentially, as the notation for each type of new Devil that they make.
I just like the concept of it all being one like massive drug-induced fever dream, and it's just like a weird woman shoving chess pieces into the mouths of hobos.
That's what the twist in season 5 is.
Yeah, that's.
And later on, once they start having a truce between the three factions of the Devils, Fallen Angels, and Angels, the Angels also are short on numbers and need to find a new way to repopulate Angels. So they use a similar system, but they use playing cards. So it's kind of funny that Study has all the people on playing cards, whereas later on the Angels use those playing cards to create new Angels. So it's kind of an interesting thing that they've just done there.
Time to start making
that's bullshit. You only get 32 chess. That's bullshit. You only get 32 chess pieces on a total playing board. You get 52 cards, 54 if you do the Jokers. The Angels are pulling bullshit, I say.
They use it's one set, so i.e. 2
calculations.
There's only like 4 houses of Angels that exist. The hearts, the spades, the clubs, and the diamonds.
Genuine question then, is aces high or low?
Oh
that's
the only one that actually appears in the entire show as an actual like proper character is an ace. So I really
are they
tell
high
you.
or low?
They are pretty strong. Aces are quite high, but then again, I haven't seen like the thing is the person.
That you see a 3.
The point is because the way they do it is the way they do it in the evil piece system, i.e. the chess pieces, is the leader of the house, i.e. the pure blood devil who owns all of these people and reincarnated them, is the king in the chess board, and then they get the other pieces to give to their servants and reincarnate them that way. And the same goes for the pack of cards. The king is the original angel that reincarnated the others.
So I'm assuming low then.
It amuses me in that analogy because the king is the most worthless piece that you forced to spend your entire game defending.
Just like Rias.
Just like men!
There is a reason for that. Is the other thing that's quite interesting is there isn't just a reason that they've reincarnated chess pieces, it's also their way of doing combat between devil houses, is the fact that you have teams now, chess pieces, and they fight against each other with the rules of chess, kind of. And the point is, if you defeat the king of the enemy team, i.e. their leader, you win.
I like the way of comparing that to kind of like, you know, slavery, where they just go, hey, let's get this, throw you in the fighting pits. I will fight you, rival slave house, for your honor. Now, are we going to fight honorably? No, of course we're not. I will throw my slaves at your slaves.
I like the concept of them being actual chess pieces, so like the bishops can only go diagonally.
I like the idea that the bishops are just, refuse to fight due to being Christian.
Well, to be honest, the bishop in the show is a cleric, and all she's good for is healing, and she doesn't really fight.
This is still the titty anime, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right, good. Yeah, sorry, I thought I had a stroke for a second.
Issei still gains his powers through breasts.
Yeah. So
Right.
the thing that makes this show so the thing that I found out about the show is the other thing is the show is entirely a mock on shonen. Because what it does is it takes the shonen's traditional trope of we win via the power of friendship, and just replaces it with the power of boobies. And that's essentially what it is.
Tits and violence.
It's basically what it is. And then you get, and this is a great advert for like the dub, especially for this show, is absolutely hilarious because of all the puns and stuff that it uses, and all of the language and the lines that come out with it. I still think it's hilarious that you can just have a show where somehow in the middle of it, the line comes, I was able to unlock my balance breaker by poking my master's headlights. It's just like, that's just hilarious. And it's just this real stupidity of the levels that it goes to. But then at the other side, there's these really emotional moments where Issei constantly has this struggle, which season 4 is all about can he confess
squeeze or not?
No, it's more the romantic side, as he wants to be in a romantic relationship with Rias because he's in love with her, but he doesn't have the trust in himself to be able to do that because he thinks, oh, she's a pure-blood devil and I was a reincarnated devil, I don't deserve this. And she's just toying with me as master-servant pact, when in fact they both like each other, and it just takes, like, it's the emotional journey of them finally realizing the fact that they do like each other and actually, like, get into a relationship, which they do at the end of season 4. So there is character, like, it's not just about the tits, boobs, and ass. It's like it's but
that is half of it.
It's a large part of it, and it's probably what draws most of the people in. But like I said, the plot is the thing, and the character development is what keeps people in. Yeah. I think I've talked enough about tits, boobs, and ass.
But you'd be surprised when his fourth. God damn it!
I also can't wait to hear
joke,
from your
Hugh.
favorite anime. Man, Ben, why'd you talk over my joke? It was a good one too.
Sorry, Lewis. Tell it again.
I said I
We'll
also
cut it out in post. I told you again.
I also said that.
Oh no, he's running around. He's like a record.
Oh
For
no,
fuck's sake.
he's doing it again. I was saying. I also, speaking of tits.
What's
and ass,
that, Hugh? What did you say?
Hang on, let me just ban Hugh. Yeah, Hugh. I'm gonna ban Hugh for this transgression. I also said, speaking of tits and ass, I also can't wait to hear from Hugh's favorite anime.
Huey,
No.
what's your number one?
I mean, God, you've got you got something very different out of my top anime than I do.
It was the only thing to keep me afloat, man.
Mate, it's not even my one.
Oh
number
my
one.
God, Hugh,
Sensei!
I know what your top is, and that just made me laugh so
Yep.
much.
Oh God!
Well,
in
okay,
4
we'll
hours when we get to it, it's gonna be confusing.
Right, Hugh, you're number 5, please.
Oh God damn it! And all that. Holy hi guys. Oh dear. My number 5 is, I don't think the most recent anime that's going to turn up on these lists, but I think it's the most recent currently, considering that most of the other ones are like 5+ years old. I'm like Alastair. I thought about my 5th place, and I'm like, I wonder what my 5th place is going to be. And one anime just kept on popping into my head over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm just like, if it's popping up there enough, it's probably the one that I'm going to pick, and it's Sweetness and Lightning. So I like Sweetness and Lightning a lot. So Sweetness and Lightning it's a 12-episode show that aired a couple of years ago. It's about a single father raising a daughter who unfortunately is starting to not slip in his parental duties, but not give his daughter kind of the best start in life, simply down to the fact that he is so busy and trying his best that he's just kind of missing things. So he buys her a lot of kind of like really nice things and like toys to play with, so she's happy. But he doesn't cook for her, and he doesn't like give her food in any kind of capacity. So she's just kind of used to eating store-bought meals. And within about the first kind of 5 or 10 minutes of the first episode, she just very casually looks at him while eating this food and just says, I want to eat some good food. And suddenly everything crashes down for this dad, and he realizes that he's been somewhat neglecting her. and he rushes and tries to get her some good food from a nice restaurant, and they end up becoming very, very good friends with the daughter of a restaurant owner who also happens to be his pupil. And it's all about him learning to cook and just kind of the road that these two take. And I like it for kind of a multitude of reasons that I will keep relatively short. But I think Samugi, who is the daughter, is the kind of most realistic character I've ever come across in anime. So with most other anime, you have kind of tropes or a character you're like, I don't understand why they've done this. Samugi is distinctly written as like a 4-year-old kid because she is a 4-year-old kid. So she does things that all 4-year-old kids are likely to do. She gets concerned that, you know, people don't like her. She hides in her own shirt at one point because she doesn't want to be disturbed and like she's upset. She drops her like DVDs and like toys the moment her favorite show comes on TV because she just doesn't want it anymore. And it's just really, really good characterization. And being a cook myself, it just was nice to see a show that dealt with cooking and then dealt with the parental side of it all and dealt with the family side and the friend side and what is considered to be family, what is considered to be friends, like and how can people in your life influence you in that respect. And it's just a really sweet little show, hence why it's called Sweetness and Lightning. It's just lovely, and I've read all the manga. It has finished. It finishes really, really well, and it doesn't end weirdly, which I was so happy about. I thought it was going to pull a Usagi drop on me. It doesn't. It just goes really lovely and nice for the entire time, and I was so happy. And I don't know how many people have seen this show because it's a bit niche, but there we go.
So when's the lightning?
I think the lightning is supposed to be kind of like the strike he takes from kind of like realizing he needs to do this.
The lightning's when he jumps and presses R1.
Yes.
I watched this show when it was airing. It was the show of that season that I always like to have a show every single season that is my nice slice of life wind down show in between all the madness, and that was it for that season. It was adorable, and the moment that I always go to when I think of that show is literally when she's walking down the street because her dad's ill and she's going to get help, and she just goes down the road, starts singing this shark song, and it's as fucking adorable as fuck.
I know the song off by heart, and that shows how much I like this show.
I was gonna genuinely scream if you started singing Baby Shark.
It's not Baby Shark, no. It is a nice little thing. No, it's a show that essentially goes between a child's eye view and an adult's eye view, and it's perhaps the only anime I've ever considered showing to family, which is a strange one. Because it is, I feel that if you were a parent, you will get something very, very different and very, very strong out of this show.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think it is. I do love this show a lot. I do think it's going to start a bit of a trend in my shows to kind of, you know, see that I do like something which has a nice warmth to it.
I'll protect that smile.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lewis likes dark, I like warm. Indeed. Anyway, Lewis.
What?
I mean, everyone else is quiet, so I'm assuming we're done.
Lewis!
Get on with it!
I also have chosen a very heartwarming fourth place. It's a slice of life show with some bits of it. It's sponsored by something very warm and fuzzy that means a lot to me. It's very sweet, and lightning sounds like nightmare if you really can join those fucking syllables. It's Code Geass.
Code Swan.
It's G-Boon Code.
Link to first podcast here.
It's okay, listener, I did it for you. Code Geass is Code Geass. It's the first proper anime I watched, by which I mean it's the first one that actually made me like feel a thing. Basically, when I first watched it, I was the very first time I actually saw it. I remember distinctly when I saw it, which is rare. I was at the upstairs of my sixth form library when my friend Alex was watching it in 240p on like one of the old anime channels, and man, that was good quality for the day.
Days.
And it was the bit at the end of the first episode, and it was when he goes, I command all of you die. Yes, Your Majesty. They'll shoot themselves. And I go, oh, this looks fun. So I went home and I watched it. Fell in love with it. I've watched it a good 8 and a half now, because I finished the first season the past couple of weeks again. And spoilers, the bit where Euphemia murders everyone is the bit that convinced me that anime was worth something. And much as I like to critique pretty much everything I come across, there is a reason I keep coming back to anime, and that's because I think it is inherently worth something. And Code Geass definitely started that trend. I've talked enough about it, but in the past. But suffice it to say that the first movie was very good. I enjoyed it as a recap movie, and I'm kind of conflicted as a Code Geass fan, because I am a real Code Geass. I'm not a fan of many things, it must be said. There's not many things where, like, something gets released of it, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta check that out. But as Hugh can attest to after watching the first movie with me...
Oh, that's the bit where the sandwich gets vacuumed. There it is.
Yeah, where I managed to quote pretty much line for line everything that happened. I adore this show. And the problem is that when they say, oh, there's 10 more years of Code Geass, there's a part of me, my critical brain, that goes, Lois, you and I both know this is probably going to end up shit at some point. But then there's the other part of me that goes, I like Code Geass! I like the bit where it's imperialism. And then there's gunfights, and then people go and do slice of life shit. And there's pizza, and then there's a guy who gets machine gunned to death, and then there's genocide. And
I love the idea that like halfway through, like so and so the exile just kind of pops its head up. And you just slap them down without even looking at them. Just know it's trying to pop its head up. He's like, I love Code Geass. Head pops up. Slap.
Slap. Yeah, it's like, did you know that Nikita the Exiled introduces the canon that you want, like, how the European Union got trashed by Snizel in between Season 1 and Season 2? It details that conflict. Do you want to know who actually trashed the European Union?
Nigel Farage.
I was going to say Boris Johnson.
Oof! It's brainwashed Lelouch as Julius Kingsley, Britannian general. I'm not kidding. Keita the Exiled's bad. Besides from that, I don't know. I'm too biased at this point. Like, it's got nostalgia bugs, but the problem is that, I've rewatched it recently. I definitely still like it a lot. I love the damn thing, as a matter of fact. And it also comes across something which I find a bit strange, which I told Ben earlier. All the anime that I like seem to be set in the modern sort of setting. On like, very few. I don't actually like sci-fi in anime, apparently. Most of them appear to be vaguely modern setting, mech suits aside.
I had a good giggle at this over the mech suits.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much just the mech suits, though, because they've got it's pretty much all of the shows that I like have got, like, a MacGuffin. So, like, the MacGuffin is, the cell phone that can teleport in the future. The MacGuffin is Securidite, the superconductor that lets you make mechs, which kind of makes sense. If you assume that Securidite exists, anyway. So, like...
It's like the monopoles in Robotics Note. It's just, they literally fall out of the sky and you're like, whatever.
Yeah, it's just, if they exist... Like, if we can all just politely agree they exist, it's like Mass Effect. If you politely agree that Element Zero exists, you can get on with your lives.
It's there!
It just is. If you run a current through it, you get more mass.
It can make you psychic!
But, like, that's fine, because as long as it presents itself and just goes, listen, just go with us, and it's like, fine, sure. So it's like, when the show turns to me, it goes, right, there's mechs. The reason is because there's this magic rock instead of nuclear weapons. That way we can use nuclear weapons later on in the anime to, make a threat. Sure, whatever, Koki, I'll go right ahead. Also, there's, like, I also like random superpowers. Oh, Christ, I like random superpowers. Yeah, I don't know. I've spoken about it a lot. Does anyone else want to share their thoughts on Code Geass? Because I'll just squee about it. I'm very much a fanboy of Code Geass.
Dude, Code Geass has, like... The Euphemia moment is that moment that I can see why you'd think it. I thought it was a stupid moment, but it showed how strong the show was when that happened, and I was still like, yeah, but what happens next?
Yeah, my two most formative moments with regards to that was when I watched them actually very near each other, was season 1 of Game of Thrones, when Eddard Stark got his head cut off.
No, Ed lives. He's in Thanos' arse.
Oh yeah,
there's the Ned Stark reference.
No. But genuinely, when I watched it, I rewound the video, I pressed play and I watched it in slow motion because I actually could not believe they had just killed the main character. I had never seen anything they'd done before. And then, not long before that, I'd watched Code Geass, where they order a genocide that literally ruins the plans of every character show. I had never seen a show in one movement, A, explore a theme like genocide before, and B, I'd never seen anything that had ever had the balls just go, you know, all those plans that every character's been making for the past 5 episodes, yep, gone, just gone. We're going into the last 2 episodes of the show, and we're going in as raw as the characters are. No one knows what's going to happen, and I just had like it was a very powerful moment for me. I'll say it was a very powerful moment.
It's also the show that has the balls to be able to stop every so often and go, I know we're taking over the world, but there's a cat over here that needs to be chased because the winner gets kissed by someone. So we're just going to spend an episode doing that. If I get you want to know about the terrorist stuff, but this is happening now.
But this is important.
Yeah, but this is happening. Put up with it.
I mean, it's the classic quote in the dub where Millie turns to camera, looks directly at you, and says, "Sometimes you just got to appreciate these filler moments in life." That is a line in the show. The dub writer, of course, being Liam O'Brien. He wrote the dub of it, and he also in one of his most famous. He didn't direct it. No, he wrote the screenplay and he played Earl of Pudding. But he was ADR. He was ADR. Yeah, I just really love Code Geass. Like, you know, it feels really strange talking about it now, you know, like 8 years later, with the idea that that was the moment, that was the formative moment. But like, it really, like, that and the opening 2 minutes of Clanad kind of proved to me that this medium was worth something, and I don't think I'll ever not be grateful to it for that.
Code Geass will forever have a place in my heart due to the inappropriate trumpet that will appear during any random scene it decides to go in.
Interestingly enough, Ben, actually, if you rewatch the film now, I say rewatch, if you watch the film and I rewatch it for the 3rd time, they've actually removed quite a lot of the inappropriate trumpet, which is saying that the music's one of the things they changed the most about the new film, actually.
How fucking dare they?
Yeah.
How else am I supposed to have characters in the middle of political intrigue as the trumpet just suddenly goes halfway through of like silent, low, tense music, just...
We've got plenty of more Code Geass content to come where they'll hopefully have them in, Ben.
That'll be fine.
Excellent. I can't wait for the director's cut with all inappropriate trumpet over the whole movie.
Besides which, you know, Ben, I'd never notice anything about the ambient background music of an anime, as we found out yesterday.
No, you never do, Lewis. You never do.
On
that point, Hugh, what will you say?
I would like to make a very bad joke.
Go on.
What is Nina's greatest enemy?
Corners.
Knights of the Round Table.
No, get out.
That'll do it.
You're not seeing, but I am dabbing intensely right now.
That's good. That's good. I like that scene. I like the fact she gets discovered by a blind girl. It's really awkward. I like that scene. What do you want from me? I like all the scenes, man.
You just like the show.
It's almost like it's one of my top 5 anime. Joe, what's your number 4?
Okay, so bear with me on this one, guys. You like...
This is an unbearable pun.
It's absolutely a bear. No.
It's Yuriko Murashi.
Oh my god, it is!
No, it's the Wicker Man featuring Nicolas Cage.
Not the bees!
Yeah. So, we've been known... members of this podcast have occasionally been known to like the Fate series. That's... We've also been occasionally known to like Hellsing. What if we put the two together and we made Drifters?
Felsing.
Big order.
Yes, Drifters.
Sweetness and Lightning.
Battle in a New World War. That is my number 4 pick.
Drifters was such a contestant for number 5 for me. Go ahead.
It was a wonderful show. It's the only one on my list that I watched week to week as it came out. The rest where I was able to binge them. You know, they were all already out for years and all that. But this one was just, every week was just, oh, when is that? Oh, it's the day. Oh, thank fuck. Go. Me and Lewis watched that on the dot every single time. That was one of our golden seasons, wasn't it? Just there was so much.
I can't remember, was that the one where it was like Shokugeki no Soma 2 or 3?
It was the tail end of the first season, I believe.
I was going to say, because the second season aired during the summer, and Drifters was a winter anime.
It was a
Or
great
fall
season.
anime.
It was a great season.
Absolutely wonderful. But it's just, every part of this show is just wonderful for me. The heavy, focus on mythological / historical characters, that always does me great stuff. The soundtrack, absolutely wonderful. The opening, Gospel of Throttle by Minutes to Midnight, phenomenal. All the characters, absolutely lovely. I also really like the heavy focus on, initial heavy focus on the characters from the Sengoku Jidai period, because that's one of my favorite historical periods. The comedy was done, I think, brilliantly.
It was so funny. I rewatched the whole series the other week, actually.
On the DVD.
On the Blu-ray when I was in a friend's house. It's so funny.
I tried to watch it recently, and it's unfortunately not on Crunchyroll anymore.
Oh, really?
You can borrow
I
mine,
know.
right.
It got taken off, and I'm just like, because I wanted to rewatch it. Because the second season will happen at some point.
Oh yeah, it's guaranteed.
Because wasn't the studio made specifically for Drifters?
It is Studio Drifters, yeah.
Yeah, but then they're like, Drifters, season 2 of Drifters confirmed, but then it's been 3 years now, and we haven't heard anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure when, but yeah, as you say, it's definitely going to come out, and they can't not do it at this point. It was too good not to.
Do you want to know what season this aired, guys? It
was
aired the
about 3
same
years ago.
season. It aired the same season as Keijo.
Oh my god!
Incredible.
It was fall
Winter
2016.
I can't believe Joe's number 4 and 1 picks are together.
Also the same season as Yuri on Ice.
Oh, I remember that season.
That was a good season then.
Yice. Anyway, back to Drifters.
I just googled it. Apparently, Drifter season 2 is scheduled sometime in 2019.
Wonderful. I mean, we're already halfway through it, so
I was going to say it'll appear at some
it's coming
point
soon.
I can't wait for them to reveal that reveal that we all realise is a reveal and we know it's going to happen, but they haven't revealed it yet.
They have not revealed it.
Apparently, it's a bit hampered because Kota Hirano is apparently very slow at making content.
Oh no,
That's fine. As long as it's good, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was it? I suppose we haven't actually talked about the plot. I mean, we all know the plot, but you know how it is. Characters from different parts of
Hitler! Hitler went back in time to the fucking medieval fantasy world and made the Hitler Empire!
Yes, he did.
He's not actually in the show.
And he's a good guy! Jesus is the enemy!
Lewis, please, that spoiler is really obvious, but no one knows it yet.
Along with 3 Frenchmen, 2 Russians, and a Jap. They plan to take over. They plan to take over Hitler world.
Oh, it's 3 whole Japs actually. List on the end side.
Yeah, at the end of the
whole
show.
Japanese. Yeah. I mean, what else do you want to say? Hitler did found a country and made it successful. What else do you want from me there?
Hitler did found a cunt.
Hitler did found a cunt. I believe her name was Ava Brown. Anyway, it's the action is bloody. Opainu has got big tits. It's tits and violence again. It's all we care about in this show.
It will be a theme in mine, I suppose. I love action shows. I can't every single one of mine has got some form of violence in it.
Did you know that Kokios has 2 pairs of tits and violence?
Yeah, but she dies really early on.
Baroness Villa ends up getting her tits out when she's rescued by Koki, and Colin briefly gets her tits out when she gets tackled to the ground by Suzaku.
What about Shirley?
In the exact same episode where he says, "I will use my hands to grip this fish."
Yeah. How do we go through the entire Kogi talk and not make a "what about Shirley" joke?
I don't know. We've made it now. That's the important thing.
I like Drifters a lot.
Drifters is so fucking fun.
It's a wonderful show. It's and just your cast phenomenal. You got I mean, we love Murasaki the God without him even saying a goddamn word.
He just sits reading a newspaper, and you're just like, that's a guy I wouldn't mess with.
He's such a cool dude.
He's just so fucking done with everything, but just gets on with it at the same time. Just Why not?
That's the St. Peter we need.
And then fucking Easy, which is, your villain is literally Easy. Like,
yep, she's an easy bitch.
She's an easy bitch.
In, she says, "Hey, I'm gonna win." He puts his paper down, goes, "No, you're not." And then she's like, "Damn it, he got me again."
Got you there.
Character motivations established. It reminded me a little bit of Gate with the absurdly
but not bad.
Yeah, but not like, but it didn't taper off and jerk off the JSDF. It just jerks off Japanese people. Just as a general. It reminded me in the sense of, like, most of the characters have got very modern tactics, modern military, like, sort of like ideas, and they're just wiping the fuck out of Tolkien-esque monsters.
Yep. It's just like that one thing where there you've got your wizards and stuff like Seneabe and the octopus thing.
But they're all useless.
They're all useless because they don't know how to fight a war. They've got all this wonderful technology, and you just bring in a guy who likes guns and shit so much. And to go from there, wipe the entire fucking field.
Or a guy with a plane.
Yeah.
Yes, Naoshikano. That was his name. He fucking literally comes out of the gate. The fuck is this? The fuck are those? The fuck is that? Dragons! Ah! Done.
I think the moment which made me realise Drifters was worth something was before they even went to the new world. Oh my god, it's an isekai.
Oh no, it is.
Anyway, sorry. Anyway, it's before they even go to the new world. It's our main character's death scene where he launches himself at the enemy general and gets spiked by like 20 spikes, and he's still trying, even though like he should be dead. And I'm
it was a
going,
ploy.
yeah, this is rad.
It was a ploy. He then pulls a gun and shoots it.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm just like, this is rad. He's like, I'm just like, I will die here, but you die with me. And I'm
like, come get your fucking head. Have this fucking bullet instead.
I'm just like, oh, I like this guy.
One thing which I do love about the humor in it is that they integrate it very well into the show. It feels like the humor is very related to everything the characters are doing, and these aren't just a bunch of mental people. The bit for me which really encapsulates that is when Count St. Jeremy is like, my 2 expert advisors are going to assess your forces right now. Oh no, these guys are like a bit mysterious, maybe a bit badass. Blocks 1 hit, old dude appears, instantly falls in love. You'll never get me unless you've got a young gender bent boy. Young gender bent boy appears, instantly in love. Done. We're like done. Fight's done.
They're coming with us.
Go home.
Old.
Like that's it.
And these are my elite musketeer guardsmen. I see you have a very stringent selection process.
The elite fighting force of exclusively topless, handsome men.
Outstanding move.
Very good show. Very funny. Very, very funny.
It really is. Now, number 4, please, Ben.
Oh, shit. So, when I got to my number 4, I started realising that a lot of the shows... Well, when I was looking at these, because there's always the joke that I flip-flop my opinion a lot, I wanted to really think about the things I was picking, and pick things that meant something to me that I really loved, look back through everything I've really watched, and decide on a top 5 that I can probably stand by, rather than changing every 10 fucking minutes. And so I tried that a lot, and I realised that a lot of my shows tend to have not necessarily something in common, but each one I kind of think I could pick and point to as a definitive show for a genre. If you named me a genre, I could go to one of my top 4 and go, oh yeah, that's the one that I think's like the epitome of this. And my number 4 is what I think is, in my opinion, my favourite comedy anime to ever exist, and that is Hinamatsuri. Hinamatsuri is about a young girl called Hina who comes in from another dimension one day and just appears in the middle of Tokyo, and she ends up being taken in by a gangster called a member of the Yakuza called Nita, and he takes Hina in and looks after her. However, Hina has incredible psychic powers, which he uses to both advance his ways in the Yakuza and also to great effect in other ways. And it leads to such great comedic things between all of these characters, especially the side characters, which is where it really shines. And I really think Hinamatsuri is a masterpiece from start to end. I just love how everything in it happens fluently. The plot and its cohesion doesn't fail in any way. Like the previous event would take the next episode to a sad episode or a funny one. It just happens, and the concern for it all is just the whole priority that the series seems to take, and it makes everything happen naturally. And even though it flows from something like such a sad moment to such a hilarious one, just seems to flow in such a very beautiful, funny way. And you get those emotional scenes like the ones with Anzo, which are absolutely fantastic. But it just does so much in its variety of approaches to comedy and how it's handled, and it nails pretty much every one of them on the head. Like, it's got build-up jokes where situations start getting crazier and crazier, and it just makes it funnier and funnier, and that's something that a lot of anime fails to do because it blows its load with the joke far too early. And it's so easy to put in an over-top situation to make someone laugh, but it just does such a great job on building that situation up and up to an even bigger, hilarious moment than you expected that it could even bring. And that's something that I think a lot of comedy shows seem to struggle with, and Hinamatsuri just doesn't. It just flows perfectly. And it's also got its occasional sad emotional arcs, which are pretty much all to do with Anzu, which has, shows you the power of friendship, whoa, but also gives you this connection to the characters that you don't really see in a lot of comedy shows because they're just there for comic relief and things. But this gives you that emotional click, that thing to make you think, oh wow, and even without seeing a full character backstory, you get the extent of what the character's about. And overall, I think Hinamatsuri is just an anime that does a lot, and a lot different than the usual comedy or regular anime, for that matter of fact. And apart from it standing on its own legs for support, it's comparable to like pretty much any of the legends, I would say, like Gintama or whatever, comedy-wise, and just even exceeds them, in my opinion. It's truly an all-round comedy, in part, because it makes you cry and then makes you laugh in a span of a minute. And it's because comedy isn't just laughing at stupidity, it's also finding funny in the tragedy, the sad times, and the emotional moments. And that's what Hinamatsuri really does. And that's what comedy should really do, and be able to make any moment into something funny, hilarious, but not lose the impact from that scene. And I just love the show as a whole for it. I love the characters, I love the setting, I just think it's brilliant.
I actually recently rewatched Hinamatsuri because it was one of the things that got voted in the society. So I rewatched it, and I was interested to see how it would hold up on a second viewing, and I have to say, not pleasantly surprised. It didn't really surprise me at all, but it still holds up comedic wise on a second viewing. It's just as funny, if not funnier, the second time round. Like you say, it does a lot of things in a span of 12 episodes. Like, it covers a lot of ground from the comedy to the emotional moments, and each character, even though it doesn't feel like these characters do this, but each character does seem to fill almost like they do have a role in the show, like they belong for different reasons. Like, Anzu is the main emotional point of the show. She's the crux of the show in that regard. Then you have the other girl whose name I now forget, Hitomi, who is the kind of the grounding point of the show almost, because she's the girl that's human. She doesn't have the weird powers, and she's just been thrust in this random situation without, like, she hasn't done anything. She's just randomly put into this situation, which is almost us in this respect, of the fact that we've now been thrust into this world of like comedic hilarity without, with no reason whatsoever to be thrust into it, apart from the fact that we're watching the show. But you get what I mean.
I will say she is the best character for one reason only. She's the only bitch in that entire fucking show who's earning her own goddamn money, because she's a strong, independent fucking woman who doesn't need no yuppie-ass money.
I mean,
she does need money, that's the point.
The woman that run the bar also is, earning her
she's great.
Yeah, but she's also a horrible human being who
that's what makes her great. That's what makes her brilliant.
Who employs child slaves.
She quite literally plops Hitomi behind the bar and goes, well, I'm going off, I'll see you in 20 minutes. If your teacher walks in,
she blackmails a child.
She blackmails the child and then fails and then succeeds again. And that's the kind of ingenuity I can get behind.
What the fuck?
it's also the fact that it does comedy in several different ways. It's not just through dialogue. It's not just through slapstick, but like there's so many different versions of comedy in that show that, because a lot of the time you say comedy is subjective, and that's true. Like some people will find something really funny, and some people will find that not funny, and then they'll find something else funny in this. Whereas Hinamatsuri has so many different forms of comedy in it that it's probably very hard to find someone who doesn't find at least something in this show funny.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like it's cramming in 800 different types of comedy. Like I say, it all flows into one another.
No. And like the other thing that surprised me as well when I watched this show is the fact that there's an episode over halfway through the show where it's this random new character just gets plopped in for an episode. You've never seen them before. You don't know anything about them, and they steal the show for an entire episode.
Oh, you mean the character, literally the first character you see in the show?
Oh yeah, but like, you don't know it's her. You don't know it's her because
I remembered. I never forget, Alastair. Forever, never forget.
I forgot because I was
forgetty. Never
I genuinely fell in love with Hinamatsuri from that first scene, just from like, oh no, he's reaching for a gun, and then she knocks his cell phone out his hand, and you just get you get the amazing, amazing fucking... Yes! Watashi wa smartphone no da!
Yeah. That's why I forgot about her, because I was too busy laughing at English smartphone. No, it's really well done at the fact that it manages to cram so much into 12 episodes, but it doesn't feel like it's been crammed in. It's well paced. It's really well done.
I do wish the Anzu episode was a bit better integrated. It just kind of feels like, and now homeless drama.
No, you're wrong.
No, you can't deny the fact that it is just an episode of homeless drama.
I kind of agree with him.
It's good homeless drama, but it's got nothing to do with the main plot. I
completely agree, considering Anzu is literally introduced in a really, really funny fight scene, and then it is just, you're right, Anzu, I'm homeless and sad. Oh. What about you, Hitomi? I'm a barmaid. Ha!
At least Hitomi's the best character.
Oh yeah, Hitomi's the best character.
Hitomi is amazing. She's just all her scenes are just hilarious. Her facial reactions, the fact that she's dragged into it all, and it's just so well done.
It's almost as if there was a reason she won the award for best side character in our anime awards.
Whoa, who'd have thunk it?
As well as Hinamatsuri winning another 3 awards in that show, in that thing.
Good show, things.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
It did also remind me a little bit of Love is War, and the really nice unconventional humor. It's nice not having a laugh track for once, like in some of the most recent comedy that you've seen in the West. So it's kind of nice to see that. It does also cash in its emotional chips for goodwill. It can thank its lucky stars. It's better executed than Love is War, but at the same time, I think I definitely prefer this as a comedy show than a drama.
I don't think there is a single anime with a laugh track, Lewis.
Yeah, there is. It's when I laugh constantly over it. That's why I said in the West.
And on that note...
So, Hugh, what's your number?
Actually, Alastair,
rather than admit he's wrong, he'd carve his own anime leg.
We're falling back into the order to make sure the listeners are paying attention.
No, my OCD demands that we don't switch back order. Alastair!
And until that point, the audience wasn't aware we had an order.
Alastair, number 4.
Yes, I will do my number 4. So my number
Sonic
4...
live action.
No.
Sorry.
Knuckles live action.
Knuckles.
This is a show which I am kicking myself for the fact that on my original list for last time, I was discussing in my head between this show and another show, 5th place. And I'm kicking myself for the fact that I didn't put this show in 5th place and put something else instead. And now I'm going to put it even higher and put it in my 4th place because I've realised...
No!
What?
Last time your 5th place was Makaraka Aka.
Yeah, but it's not that anymore. The point is I got rid of it.
Goody.
He said it was switching with something. Lord.
Oh, I got sorry.
Listen to the host! Let her talk!
I did listen, I got confused!
Anyway, so my number 4 is a show that probably won't come as much of a surprise to everybody. It's a show that I've ridiculously fallen in love with every single aspect of the damn thing, and I want to get as much of it in my person as I possibly can. The show is Konosuba because it is fucking glorious. I'm not going to describe the plot of this show because it's not important. It's an isekai.
There is one, Dad.
It doesn't matter because the point of the show is not the plot. The point of the show is the fantastic cast of characters that this guy has created. I have never seen in a show a cast of 4 characters that individually are so well created and all fit together perfectly and seamlessly as a group of friends going on an adventure doing hijinks and dumb shit that, like, it's just mind-boggling how this guy's managed to do this. Like, all of these things that these characters are so these characters, and that's the main reason that this show lives and breathes, is through those 4. That through their interactions, you really feel like you're going on an adventure with this group of friends that all have their own little quirks and all are, if they were in a different party or whatnot, would be total shit. But the fact is, they work together and work past their like weird, stupid things that they have. The fact that, you know, one can cast one magic, like, massive mega spell every single day, but only can do it once, and it becomes completely useless afterwards. And all of the, like, every single character has their, like, they're super powerful in one regard, but super shit some otherwhere. And it's just, they just work so well together, and the dynamic is great. And this show, everything that I see about the show, whether it's the anime, whether it's the light novels, whether it's the manga, whether it's a figure, whether it's a fucking body pillow, whether it's a poster, anything I see of this show, it just makes me smile. It just makes me fucking happy. It just makes me giddy because it just gives me these wonderful, happy emotions of when I see anything to do with this. And the other thing is when you go to this, and I'm going to shout out to the 4 actors who play Kazuma, Aqua, Megumin, and Darkness, because Jun Fukushima, Sora Mamiya, Ri Takahashi, and Ai Kayano, those 4 actors, they don't just play the characters, they embody those characters. You actually like feel like they play those roles. They are those roles. And which is why I struggled so much, even though the dub's okay, like the dub's alright, like the dub's quite good, but it just doesn't, they don't feel like they are those characters, which the Japanese cast is. And recently I picked up the soundtrack along with the character songs, which are basically music songs that are sung by the character voice actors in the character. And those songs even sound and feel like it's literally the character singing them and not just the voice actor, which a lot of them do sound like, as a lot of the other character songs that I have heard sound just like the voice actor singing them, whereas in this case, it is the character singing them. And it's the fact that these people have embodied these characters. It's just, and these characters are so good that I don't care about the plot. There is no plot. I don't care if they don't even kill the Demon King in the end. Who cares? It's the fact that you're on this journey with a group of friends that is just great. And I've gushed too much in the past several minutes, but fucking hell.
I do like him singing their own tracks. I'm surprised you didn't listen to this one dubbed. Actually, I quite like the dub of Konosuba.
Well, the dub only came out recently, didn't it?
I watched the dub as well. I've seen the entire first season dubbed. Like, I have watched the whole thing. I did enjoy it, and it was a completely different experience. It's just, I don't know. It didn't click with me as much as the sub did. And coming from me, who, as you know, I'm a fan of dubs. I like dubs. And if I have the choice, I will watch the dubs. But in this case, it just didn't feel right.
I think when you're used to something for like 2 years of being like the thing you hold up above everything else, like you are so like not willing for that to be compromised.
Yeah, it's just, and it's also because I think is a nature with comedy as well. Sometimes the way Konosuba's comedy works, anyway, a lot of it is very like how things sound, because you have a lot of jokes that just come because of the way things sound. Like when you have at the end of season 1 where Darkness confesses her actual true identity to Kazuma, and there's this moment of silence, and he just goes, La Latina. And it's just really funny because of the way he says it, because it's in this Japanese accent that it sounds even funnier. When it's done in the English, it doesn't have the same impact. Or when you have the moment where Aqua's going through the mansion, clearing out the ghosts, and just going, turn undead, turn undead, turn undead. And then in the middle just says, and I can't do the Japanese version of it, but it says nature's beauty, but the Japanese version of it.
I can feel eyes turning to me, and no, I'm not going to do it.
No, it's Kaicho Fujitsu.
Nature's beauty!
It's like Kaicho Fujitsu or something. I can't.
Life is beautiful.
But it's just the way she just suddenly like goes. It's the way she just suddenly goes from turn undead, turn undead, turn undead, Kaicho Fujitsu, and just keeps going. It's just really funny. It's just like a lot of things that just make me happy.
Best stroke in that entire show. Darkness and Kazuma in the Axis cult headquarters. Axis cult member spits on the floor. Just walks off, complete silence. Kazuma just looks at Darkness through the corner of his eye and just goes, "You enjoyed that, didn't you?" She golds herself and just goes, "Nee." And I'm just like, "Yeah, alright, that's funny."
It's just this. It's just, yeah. It's a very like, like the thing is with Konosuba is it's definitely going to be a very Marmite type of show, I feel, because it's very much stringent on the comedy. If you do not find Konosuba funny, you're not going to like the show. Whereas if you find Konosuba funny, you're probably going to like the show a lot. For me, and I was saying this before, like I have expressed my interest, not on the podcast, but I have expressed my interest to people that I've been interested in writing my own like light novel. The problem is, I can't, even though as much as I like Isekai, I wouldn't be able to write one. Because my perfect isekai already exists. It's called Konosuba. I wouldn't change anything about that show. That's exactly.
That's kind of sweet.
That's how I would want to. That's how I'd want an isekai to be. I love every single character in it. Even Aqua, who a lot of people say is annoying. I kind of like the way she is. It's a lot of fun. She's not my favorite character, but I like every single character for what they are and what they do and how they add their own spin into into the show, and it's just I could keep gushing about this thing for like 3 hours, but I'm not going to. But there is a reason it's my number 4, and it's a reason why I'm kicking myself that I didn't include it last time, because considering how I'm talking about it now, why the fuck didn't I?
You had the do-over and you took it.
It's very easy to overlook stuff in the moment, especially when it's the first podcast we'd ever do. I know I purposefully avoided picking ones because I didn't want to be overly gushy in the first ever podcast.
I mean, it's also the fact that I've picked up literally everything I can from this. I own the entire soundtrack. I own the light novels, all physically. I've been buying the manga. I own each character that has come out as a figure. I own every single one of them.
To be honest, mate, I'm surprised this is only 4th, given how clearly passionate you are about the whole thing.
That's the thing that goes to show how high the other 3.
Yeah,
but actually, my top 4 are probably like a lot of people say like their top 3 are like solid. My top 4 now are like solid. Like the gap is between 5 and 4. Like, that's where my gap is. Like, the top 4, there's barely nothing in them. And probably the only reason I have not put Konosuba higher is because it doesn't have an ending. All the other 3 that I have an ending. And even though I said that the plot doesn't particularly matter with Konosuba and the ending doesn't really matter, which is why it's still 4th, it's still like, I want to know how the story ends before I could put it any higher consciously. I want to know what the whole thing is. Probably once the last light novels come out and I've read the last light novel, I probably won't care about how far the anime gets, but I just kind of want to know that it stays good all the way through, if that makes sense. So,
do you put much stock into endings, I must ask?
Endings are quite important for me. I like shows to wrap up properly, which we'll get onto later. But yes, I do put a lot of stock in endings. If a show doesn't have a satisfactory ending, I'm kind of like, well, you kind of just ruined it for me.
Okay, I know it's a little bit of a side thing, but I am still convinced that the bloody mohawk pink wearing barbershop dude in that show, I'm 100% sure he is the Demon King.
Oh yeah, no, that's my bet as well. I'm pretty sure.
Alastair literally told me this earlier. We were talking about it. And that's exactly what he said.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm glad he agrees with me.
It's such a Konosuba thing to do as well that he's just the Demon King.
He just runs a barbershop in the starting town. Just why not?
It's a good place to hide. So yeah.
Lewis.
What about me? I think Hugh gets to go now, doesn't he?
No, apparently
Oh,
I get. Apparently,
no.
fuck me.
No, it's
Hugh,
Hugh.
I genuinely looked at the list, saw Alistair, then Sonic, and went, oh, it's just a joke, went back to the top.
There we go. You happy now?
I'm much happier.
I'm not. It's been almost 2 hours, and we're not even on.
Don't worry, fate will skip one.
I've
for everyone.
got work tomorrow.
You've still got 2 hours left before.
I
then, so-
know. Don't worry. Oh dear. Right, Lewis, me and you.
What about me and you? Is this really the place to air our fucking relationship? After all this goddamn time! Yeah, what the fuck is it? Go on.
I was going to say Neon Genesis Evangelion. Let's go, boy.
Cruelty. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yep, number 4.
Is it keenly your third, Lewis?
Yes, yeah, and
So we're gonna. So considering that me and Lewis are literally next to each other, we can.
I
combine
guess
the
it's
two.
perfect.
I was gonna say, yeah.
It's almost as if I knew this was going to happen. It's why I kept the order the way it was.
A silent angels lit it.
We
No,
flipped
fuck
for
it.
you or Joe to be.
It's almost as if I knew this way it was. Neon
We
Genesis
flipped a coin that none of us saw.
Yep.
Yes, Hugh. Continue.
Neon Genesis Evangelion's the greatest anime of all time. Prove me wrong.
It's
is.
not in your
Numbers
first
2 and
spot.
1.
Okay, it's not your number one.
Alistair.
Yes.
There's a difference between favourite and best. I think my top anime is not the best anime ever made, but it is my favourite. Neon Genesis Evangelion is the best anime ever made because it has the biggest sway on the anime market going into the entire rest of the decade. It still resonates almost 25 years later. It is still the archetypical mech show. It is still where people turn when they say, what's a good anime to watch? People point at Evangelion.
People still argue about Rei and Asuka.
Yeah, people still argue about best girls.
You're both wrong. It's Miss Sato.
You're both all wrong. It's Kaoru.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Kaoru. People still
It's me.
wait for the 4th movie with bated breath because Hideaki Anno still haven't given it to us because he was too busy doing Godzilla. People still look at this show as the shining beacon that I also see it as. It is so unbelievably good. It is so fantastic. It has perfect characters, perfect pacing, perfect action, perfect breakdowns of so many different genres, and an end of Evangelion, the perfect ending. It's absolutely excellent.
Do you want to know I don't know if anyone actually knows this here. Joe might. Do you want to know what the first thing I did when End of Evangelion happened and I got to the end of it, it finished? I was watching it with some people. Do you want to know the first thing I did? I laughed. I fucking laughed.
Oh no,
I-
the ending's
You didn't even give me a
hilarious.
chance to answer.
I'm sorry, Joe. You already knew, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
In your heart of hearts. I laughed. I fucking thought it was the funniest goddamn anime I'd ever seen. I thought it was so bad. Over the course of 2 weeks, it grew on me like a bad, itchy crab infection.
And yeah,
It's so good. It took a week to grow on me. I then rewatched it. I've since seen it 3 times.
and beat 6.
No, I've got things to do with my life, Hugh.
Oh yeah, what like watching Code Geass.
Yeah.
8.5 times.
8.5 times. What am I, if I watch Evangelion, what am I going to do with that precious Code Geass time?
Good point.
I don't know, maybe put Code Geass higher.
Sorry, I was too busy watching Konosuba like 10 times.
Oh my god, boys, put your dick.
Jeez, I was about to say, Evangelion is the most artistically significant anime ever made.
Yep.
I think I'll edit Hugh's reply slightly because favorite's a bit weird because of subjective and objectivity. It is the most artistically significant anime ever made. It takes a lot from Devilman, must be said.
It's inspired by like so many other things, but it has spawned so many other things that are inspired by it. I would argue it is the biggest inspiration in anime.
It is just so clever, and unfortunately brings me to a conclusion, gentlemen. I'm not too sure if you agree with me.
The anime peaked in the 90s.
Thanks, Hugh, for interrupting me. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
No, anime did not peak in the fucking 90s. You think I'd put a 90s anime number 3 if it wasn't my favorite, you fucking dipshit? No, I think people make their best stuff when they're horribly fucking depressed. Because Hideaki Anno, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it's the best documentary ever. It's when he visits a high school and he gets them to, and just like any high school, and here's a man who works in the animation industry. It's the most influential animator to have ever lived. And all the kids okay, and he's okay, we're gonna learn to do animation. Here's how you do it. Show me and then we'll get it done. Go. And he gets them to do it. And it occasionally cuts to him in an interview. Some of the things he says, he doesn't eat meat because he physically feels sick with the idea of having something else inside of him.
Oh, he's a strange man. He's a super strange man.
He is indeed a strange man. He did that. There was one time where he was so depressed, he ran out of tears. And then, my favorite one ever, there was a time where his apartment caught on fire and he nearly didn't wake up.
Yeah, no, I remember him saying that.
He woke up, saw the apartment was on fire, and nearly went back to sleep. What a man!
Oh no, he is such a man. And the thing is, he created this significant piece of artwork out of it that had an ending that was so brilliant that the fans were a bit weirded out by and oh, this is a bit anticlimactic. So he sat down and went, wait, you're telling me that this excellent, fantastic ending isn't good enough for you? I'll show you, and went ahead and made an even better ending. It's so incredibly weird.
I would never in a million years call Congratulations Shinji an excellent ending.
It is. That's the thing, though. It is an excellent ending. It's just not the type of ending you expect.
Right, here's the thing. Right, Ben, was it you who I rewatched some of Evangelion with? I can't remember. Because when we rewatched it, I remember when End of Evangelion happened. Or just before, rather, when episode 26 happened. And in episode 26, there's occasional flashes to bits of animation, which basically usually End of Evangelion. And we both politely agreed, if you've seen End of Evangelion, episode 24 and 25 Evangelion make complete sense.
Yes, we did.
It's fine. Once you've seen all the context, it's fine. It's just the ending was so crippled by a lack of money. I think
it comes out of nowhere is the problem. It just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Some fun facts about Evangelion I know because I love this show. It was the first time ever on Japanese television that it depicted the death of a minor.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
With the death of Kaoru, that is the first time ever a child was depicted dying on Japanese television. They got their budget halved.
Slashed.
Also, straight up, the best moment of the entire series, pushed by a lack of budget. Just the slow camera pan out with Kaoru in hand.
It's not even a pan. It's just a cut. And then there's the Evangelion elevator scene.
Yeah, which is now just one of the most iconic scenes of all time, and it's just two people stood in an elevator.
If no one minds, can I give the quick last question pop quiz, because I want to hear people's answer.
Go on.
Evangelion once originally aired during the child's evening slot on Tokyo TV. It was not terribly popular with the kids. What reason did Hideaki Anno give as to why he gave it the child slot rather than the more popular adult slot?
They needed to learn depression sooner rather than later.
Ben, unfortunately, has got it in one. He wanted the kids to learn what real life was like sooner rather than later. What a man! What an individual!
I cannot wait for Evangelion to come on Netflix, because I will be binging that thing in one sitting. I just will. I can't wait just to see that thing in HD on my big screen. I just can't. Like, it's such a piece of artwork. It's such a piece of influential artwork as well. You can see Evangelion in every single anime that comes out in some form or another. And it's also just a perfect proof of death of the author, where Hideaki Anno has sat down and gone, half of the imagery in Evangelion doesn't mean anything, but the fans have taken it to mean so much that he's just gone, sod it means this now.
And that's very good. Is the Miyazaki-kun way, indeed. But yeah, Evangelion means something very special to me. Must be said. It is art.
It is.
Evangelion is a very
Evangelion.
I've turned Transylvanian.
Machiavellian.
Evangelion is a very good show, and I really, really enjoyed it.
It's a good show.
I 100% agree that it is art.
It is the most artistically worthwhile anime.
However, I struggle highly to always put it higher than it is in any of my opinions, due to the fact of severe budget cuts at the time, scenes that are clearly there and have been given more merit due to the fact of what it is. And I always get a feel of, modern art, where you look at it and you go, it's a picture of your shit. It's just a picture you've took of your shit and put in an art gallery. There's several scenes in Evangelion I get that feeling with, and I get that people have stood there, told me the artistic meaning, but it's still just a picture of your shit.
As someone who quite likes modern art, and don't take that as an excuse to throw every picture of modern art at me, because I know you fucking will. As someone who has enjoyed quite a few modern art exhibits, I get the comparison you're making. At the same time, I think it does a much better job of foreshadowing. I don't know. Like, the thing is I
wasn't saying anything about foreshadowing. I was just saying due to constraints.
No. But I'm like, right. Modern art typically is based entirely on interpretation. There's no setup. Meanwhile, Evangelion's got much better setup. Is the point that I was making.
That's fair. I'll concede to that.
Yeah, but the big thing for me is that the budget constraints is an argument I accept wholeheartedly. I'd argue the film more than makes up for it, because that film is a tour de force and probably the best ever anime film.
I would also argue that the budget cuts they take in stride and create some of the most iconic
they
and
do
best
well
moments through that budget cut.
They do well with their budget.
There's also the iconic episode where me and Lewis genuinely sat there pissing ourselves for 30 minutes straight, just going, I am certain this was the episode they just got absolutely
and they ran out of
on
money.
Yeah. They ran out of money because they spent the last of it on some ridiculous drugs, and they just made this episode as we sat there and pissed ourselves at how little sense and how little animation there was in the whole thing.
Was that the N-dimensional fuck cube episode?
Yes, I think
it was N-dimensional fuck cube.
It was, yes. But it was just genuinely 23 minutes of me and Lewis just pissing ourselves at this episode.
It was good.
And we came away and went, that was a good episode.
That was a great episode. There isn't a bad one among them. It can be a bit over the head with the psychological commentary. I'll say that the whole hedgehog dilemma is really over the top. But another thing which I think the show does very well is that it kind of codified a lot of the tropes that existed at the time. So like you got the Ray trope, the Oscar trope. I'd also argue it's the best example of the Karu trope, which we even mentioned earlier when I said the Karu motherfucker from Mirai Nikki, which is the kind of grey, whitish-haired, slightly foppish, implied homosexual character who tends to be quite intelligent.
The vampire character, yes.
The vampire character. And Karu codifies it, exemplifies it. I've never fallen in love with and lamented the loss of a character in an episode.
It's almost
so
as if
much.
it's the most influential thing in anime.
10 gay piano scenes out of 10. Hugh, I will disagree with the most influential. I think Miyazaki's work is the most influential simply because Japan sucks his dick non-stop, as does the West.
But the thing is, though, I can see Evangelion way more in shows than I can see Miyazaki. I think Miyazaki is so specific. People want to do Miyazaki. People don't like to ape Miyazaki, though.
In with regards to people like copying, not copying the work, gaining influence from the work, I'd agree with Evangelion.
Paying homage!
That is, in fact, what influence means.
No, with regards to anime as a whole, driving people to become animators and just the entire propelling the medium forward, I would say that Miyazaki is the one for it, because he's the one you can turn to anyone, even people that don't watch anime, and that will be the best guess they give.
Interestingly, Hideaki Anno worked directly under Miyazaki.
Did he really? That's really interesting.
He animated a load of stuff for
Nausicaa, the Valley of the
Nausicaa,
Wind.
the Valley of the Wind.
He was the keyframe animator for the bit where
it's the slime. It's kind of the slime, weird kind of slug things, isn't it?
Yeah, which is renowned as one of the best animated scenes in the entire show. And he worked directly under him. He was a keyframe animator. No one knows quite what he did before. Then he works as an animator, and then he just made Evangelion.
That's really interesting.
I do have to wonder what we would get if we just locked him and Yoko Taro in a room and just...
Oh, throw Genrobuchi in the mix.
I'll do a bed, but I'll say that halfway through, Genrobuchi pushes a button and says, "Welcome to the game. One of you will make out of this room alive."
And it ends up being Genrobuchi.
No. I was going to say,
wearing one of their flesh.
One of you makes out of this room alive. One of you will die. The loser will have to live.
Oh yeah, perfect. And on that note, Joey boy.
Right,
I love how I didn't even get to say anything, so...
Oh, sorry, buddy.
All I was going to say was, between this and last time, I've actually finished Evangelion. And the end of Evangelion... And the end of Evangelion, I would agree, is probably one of the best pieces of anime I think I've ever seen in my life.
Best apocalypse ever.
Tang.
A lot of the show I like a lot. Like, I enjoyed it a lot, and there's a reason why I own the entire thing on disc, even though it cost me a bomb. But like, for me, I think the one thing that held me back and is still the thing that nags me is Shinji annoys me. But apart from that, everything's great.
I'd politely ask that we don't get into this argument here, just because we've done it on many...
over that argument.
What do you mean? It's 25 years worth of influence in that argument, Lewis.
What do you mean it's been 2 hours?
True enough, I like Shinji for the same reason I like Simone. I'll leave it at that.
Joe!
Alright, yeah, part 3 of Joe's adventures through tits and ass. No, this one's actually probably the most emotionally charged one of the lot. Devilman Crybaby goes for my number 3 spot. I don't know if people wanted it higher or lower, but that's where it goes for me. Quite comfortably in the middle of the ones I love like that much. We've spoken about it on so many occasions. It got a fair few awards from us at the Anime of the Year. It's got the most emotionally charged setting out of pretty much every show that I've really enjoyed. It's a complete roller coaster going between your high octane blood pumping action scenes that you get in episodes 2 and 3, right down to your bawling your eyes out when Mickey the Witch starts slaying, and we've been through all that before. It's absolutely phenomenal, and I can't think of anywhere else I would rather have it than in my top 5 animes. Thoughts?
I think we said a lot of it about it.
We have.
This was absolutely my most contested spot for number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Why did you not go for it then? I'm interested.
So the contest was between... Well, I don't want to take away from your conversation of it, Joe, but maybe you'll understand this. I'm fairly sure I showed you Devilman. I did, yeah. When I first saw Devilman, it was the day after it came out when someone said to me, "You have to see this." I watched the whole thing in one sitting. I thought it was a goddamn masterpiece, at which point I showed it to about 3 different people, back to back, and I applied the "would I watch this again" test, and Mirai Nikki kind of won out, but the thing, it was like, I'm not for a second saying that, if you caught me on a different week, Devilman would have made it in. Like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah. So I watched it on Devilman on 3 separate occasions. The first was with you, obviously, Lewis, and you talked me through a lot of it, and we got that whole crazy thing. Second time I watched it by myself and was literally sat there a day, go, and the last time was with when you, me, Charlie, and Barry watched it, and that was just so I got a nice different set of perspectives from it being completely new, what I just thought of it straight up to my face, and then what I knew was going on, and seeing other people seeing it for the first time, and I enjoyed it more and more each time.
Yeah, I definitely could. I can definitely agree. I do love it the more I see it. it must be said that the shock value gets lost, but I appreciate that it doesn't hold any punches. Also, you can see where it's influenced Evangelion and Berserk a lot.
You can see why it's considered one of those kind of real quintessential mangas and animes that you kind of need to look at. Because it's very interesting to see, like, what I like about Devilman Crybaby is that it took the original manga and did its own thing while still sticking to the story.
It kept the soul of it properly.
Yeah, it went, this is what we think Devilman should be. And then, so they did the story, but they changed the art style, they changed a few of the characters, they made it their own. And so watching Crybaby, you feel like it is a labor of love. You distinctly feel like this is a show that Netflix said to the creators, this is going on Netflix, you do not have to hold back. And they never hold back. They let it go ham the entire time.
Yep, it's absolutely wonderful for it.
I still haven't finished the damn thing.
Then finish it!
I just
Do it
don't
now.
have the drive to finish
Do it now! You've got till Ben finishes his number 3. Go!
I'll also, hang on, we've still got shit to say!
I'm not saying that we're going on to Ben. I'm saying Ben and Alastair.
Why'd you say go? But I was going to say, with Devilman, I definitely think that one of the strongest aspects of it is Akira, is Devilman. And I will counter the earlier. I guess we're talking about this then.
He's my favorite pro tag out of everything on my lists. Like, even if some of my shows don't even have pro tags, but he is.
I love Akira as well. I'd argue that Akira has got the same arc and has got the same character type as Shinji and Simone. I would say that I like him for the same reasons, where he's just got such a moral compass. He wants to change his mind, and he's been thrust in a situation he just doesn't understand, just wants to do his best. But he's young and can't do his best because he doesn't know what the world is.
I'd say Akira's more akin to Shinji than Simone in the fact that they're both being led on by someone that that's very close to them, or rather not even close, but a familial member kind of thing. Whereas Simone, like he loses that very early on, doesn't he? So
I wouldn't. He's got Akira's got a much shorter transformation, whereas Simone goes until episode 10 or 11 before he actually becomes, like a man, as it were, like in the stereotypical, like story sense.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, with him. Yeah, no, definitely. Just the he doesn't understand the world. It's too cruel of a place for someone like him, unfortunately. In that
he is literally a crybaby.
He is a crybaby, and he cries, and then Wrath of fucking God, and it's just lovely. I do think that I will. There's very few things where I would accept the argument it's a bit gratuitous. But even I'd argue that the tits and, not the violence so much, but definitely the tits in this are a little bit too much. I think it's really still a good sign because it's a step forward for when we are, before a lot of the newer anime stuff, people were literally afraid to, show a bit of ours, High School DxD notwithstanding. But in, like, accepted anime, not watched by deranged perverts like Alastair, people weren't used to seeing things like tits and ass. And I appreciate the fact that, although we've gone a bit far off the opposite end, I think it's nice to see that sexuality return as a plot bit. I mean, there's a bit where a character shows dominance by pretending to get raped, then blows someone's head off, then finishes him off.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the first chapter is the literal sex and drugs party.
Yes!
I can confirm all of those scenes in Devilman are not sexy.
They're not sexy, they're
never said they were.
That's why it's like, yeah.
Well, that's the difference. It's not used in a sexual context. It's used in a more like horror context rather than an actual. It's not meant to look sexy. Is the point?
The thing about Devilman that will always get me is that every time I watch it, I am reminded of the original's dub. and I will not help but every
I'm
scene
Devil Man.
quote some level of bullshit from that dub, and almost like this wasn't the first way through. The first time through was perfect, and every other time through I ruin it for myself by sitting there and doing something like Akira Fudo, and then sitting there staring at whoever I'm watching it with for like a minute before going, "Oh yo, it's my old friend Ryu."
How the hell have you been?
Fuck you.
Oh no, it's like
I just kicked the bucket.
Yeah, that can happen, especially with shows with like a bridge series and stuff as well. Just anything with a hilarious dubbing. Like, I mean, I can't watch Code Geass without fucking yelling Jasper or the soup stuff.
Yeah. I think I like the Jasper scene and the Pussycat Dolls, and we rewatched that movie literally 4 days ago.
Magnificent.
You remember Mrs. Nesbit? Oh, how could I forget?
Yep.
She's sleeping with some high-ranking official's daughter. Oh, I love that dirty whore. Anyway, go on.
Yes. Devil Man, good.
Devil Man is good.
Sex bad, women awful.
Men
Continue describe anime, Ben.
Ugh.
Ugh, emotion.
So, my next show is one that I don't talk about at all. I'm not entirely sure why, but it's one that I really love, and that is Hajime no Ippo. Now, you may be unsurprised at me liking the over 100 episode boxing show.
I was more of a Kuroko no Basket man.
But it's so much more than just a show about boxing, and even if you don't like boxing, it gets you into the feel, into the moment of the entire show. I've not watched a show in my life that has had me so holding my breath during moments, jumping up and physically cheering during the show, getting excited along with the characters, and just caring so much about a motley crew of characters. It's more than a boxing show. It's such a roller coaster or a ride along the way, because you care about the people, you care about the gym, you come to care about Ippo's struggle and Takamura's dream to become the best of everything despite how cocky he is about the whole thing, and all of the other members of the gym, you just come to like them and see them as like members of a family and enjoying this group of friends getting together, and the character development is astounding compared to even shows that are like meant to be driven by their character development. This show just does it so much better than so many others. And you get to the fights, and it does such a great job of humanizing every person the character is fighting. Like, every single one has that level of, you're given a backstory, you learn to either root for them or see them as a villain or whatever, or understand why they're a bit of a piece of shit that you've seen up till this point. And it gives that level of humanization to every single fight, to the point that you feel those moments where you're like, I kind of don't want them to lose at some points, despite the fact you're still rooting for the hero so much. And it'll come to parts where it follows the same formula of a build up to a fight, then a fight, build up to a fight, then a fight, which may sound monotonous, but it's not, because you get to see such great development during it, and lead up to such an amazing action scene every time that just has me tense on the edge of my seat and rooting along, cheering for either side. And it does something that a lot of sports and shonen shows refuse or are too scared to do, and that's make the hero lose. So there's real stakes. You never go into one going, the hero's going to win because he's the hero. You never go into a fight thinking, well, he's going to win because it's the main character, he's got to get the title. Because there's times when he doesn't. He loses. He gets knocked down on his arse. He's in the throes of defeat. And you get to see him go through that and see how his friends drag him back up through that. And you then get to see the next fights, the comebacks. You just learn to root and care for each of these characters and everything that goes on. And it has some of the most brilliant action scenes I've ever seen. Like Takamura versus Hawk is the best action scene I have ever seen in an anime ever. And it is just 23 minutes of just a pleasure to watch just one match of boxing of these two people fighting, and it just takes you through the rigmarole of all emotions you could possibly feel going through it. And as I say, you don't even have to be a fan of boxing to like the show, because it just drags you in with such lovable characters and great setting. And I just genuinely love this show, and it is the only show that lasts that long that I find myself dragged to again and again and again. And I can't help but point towards it anytime I think, here's the ideal shonen, here's the ideal sports anime, here's the ideal, even like character drama at some points, because you just come to love them and see them as a family. And it's just such a ride, and it's so fantastic and does a brilliant job at everything it wants to do.
I've been meaning to watch it. I haven't.
I
I'm
also
sorry.
haven't.
That's all right. I honestly, I'd have been more surprised if anyone had seen it.
I've seen like a lot of videos on it, because I know it stands out as one of the few sports anime where the character starts out not even involved in the sport.
Oh no, he's genuinely a kid that helps out on his mum's fishing boat, so he's stronger than usual.
He's strong, yeah.
And he ends up fighting, he ends up getting bullied a bunch because he's a quiet kid, and Ippo is genuinely one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He then gets into a boxing match, and guess what you expect? You expect shonen protagonist to be OP and win his boxing match and show how amazing he is, correct? No, he gets fucking destroyed and loses.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the trope of guy has some kind of way to be relatively good at thing gets into thing comes from. Because Welcome to the Ballroom does it.
I know your initial D started that, but go on.
Yeah, but Welcome to the Ballroom does it. Yaomishi Pedal does it. Kuroko no Basket does it.
Oh, no. Right, I'll right, Kuroko no Basket. Everyone who plays Kuroko no Basket is already good at basketball. They're just going into the big leagues, right? In Hajime no Ippo, I know for a fact the guy knows nothing.
No,
about
no. This is what I
boxing.
mean. Like this, it's still like a little bit of a, like it's interesting where the trope's coming from, because I've seen a lot of shows that do it as well.
Oh, it's crazy, and it's done so well, because genuinely in Ippo's first fight, to prove that he has any form of talent, he has a guy on the sidelines yelling at him how to even punch, because he's never been in a fight before. He's only beat up. So when he goes to fight, he's swinging wildly, and he's got a guy stood there that's like, no, remember the thing I told you to do before this, do that, and he figures out how to do a basic jab. And in that fight, he genuinely can only jab for the first fight, because he has no clue what he's doing. But the only thing he has going for him is he has slightly greater than usual upper body strength.
That's interesting that, because I haven't seen it either, but that's interesting that because like you said, you don't get that very often. And that's interesting that they actually do have that, like the full growth from I am jack shit at this to actually being decent.
Well, the thing is, it's fantastic, because his first professional fight is against a guy that everyone's like, "Oh, you'll win it. It's fine. It's a piece of shit. He like barely trains and barely does anything." And it shows you the lives of the fighter that he's going to fight leading up to it. And this guy is like laxing off because he has an incredible right hook that can knock people out, and so he's just coasting by on that, despite the fact he's lost matches before on points and stuff. And so he's going through and doing that, and at which point his girlfriend sees this, and she's just like, "You're not the same person that I cared about. Like, you're just coasting by life. You've got no fire, you've got no passion. This isn't the man I fell in love with," and is like leaving him, and his gym starts falling apart because he's no longer caring about it or trying to do anything. And all of this doesn't really culminate with him, and he starts to feel like shit, but that pushes him further into not doing anything. And then he hears that, like, Ippo's friends, not even Ippo, were calling him weak and saying that he was a clown. and suddenly all of it comes to a head, and he breaks down, and he's like, I want to get her back, I want to keep boxing, this is my passion, I'm not a clown, I'll show them who's a clown. And he trains, and it goes from a fight that Ippo should have won hands down to genuinely a tense all the way through fight, where he like even cuts Ippo's eye open, and they nearly stop the match due to the fact of the wounds that he's took during it. And it just shows, and you're sat there, and you don't really want the guy to lose, because he's going to lose his girlfriend, he's going to lose his gym, he's going to lose everything if he loses this match. But you don't want the hero to lose either. And you're stuck in that moment where you're rooting for both, and it does such a fantastic job of doing that. And it does such a fantastic job of building up the villains and building up tension to every fight that, like I say, it's the only anime I've genuinely jumped out of my seat and cheered at moments of it happening.
I feel you may have picked one of the only ones that no one else has seen.
Oh yeah, I genuinely expected this to be very short and no one to have anything to say, so that's fine.
It's fine. I mean, the love of boxing, I think, certainly shines through. Because, I think there are stronger sports animes, but I think your connection to it's semi-obvious.
I genuinely, from what I've talked to with other people about this show, and from things I've read, I think it's a show that anyone can get into, and I think that boxing is just simply the sport that was chosen for it. And honestly, like I say, it's the cast that makes it more than anything, because you just come to love the lovable band of idiots that they are, and it's just so good that you just come to really appreciate the family that they have within the gym as much as the sport that's going on. But yeah, I won't keep going on about a show that other people haven't seen, so...
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I've got the first 20 episodes downloaded onto my phone. I have just not watched it.
That's alright, man. We can talk about it when you have.
Excellent.
I'll probably pick it up. It's been a while since I had a good sports anime to watch anyway. So.
I would highly recommend it, man.
I'll say by which you mean we stopped watching Kuroko Basket a couple of years ago now.
Megalobox, for sure.
Oh, Megalobox wasn't a sports anime anyway.
Alastair, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is... This is when you realise, right, so what can top my rant about Konosuba? So my next thing, and this will probably be quite short, because we'll probably leave it till later, or whatnot. My next thing is, of course, Fate, and of course I can't go with all of Fate, because that would be cheating. I will pick what I've said all the time, and I haven't changed my opinion on this, is I'm going to pick as my top Fate as Fate Unlimited Blade Works, and we can have this argument later.
Excellent.
Unless you want me to do it now, but we can do it later.
Well, a lot of the Fate discussion is, I think, later on in people's lists. Probably best to save it till a bit.
So that's my number 3.
Excellent. Hugh?
I was going to say, are we going to go back to Lewis, or are we going to remember me this time?
Hugh can.
My number 3 is a show that a lot of you probably also haven't watched. I know that Lewis has watched like the first 3 episodes because I forced him to. / he was like, "Hey, I want to watch this."
Oh, right, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
It's The World God Only Knows.
Oh, I love
I've
that
seen
show.
some of it.
I know of it.
Exactly. This is the problem.
It's not what I thought it was about. I'll put it that way.
The World God Only Knows is about a guy who's really, and I do mean really good at dating sims. So the devils of the world contact him and go, "Hey, do you want to help us capture lost souls? They're in the hearts of girls." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" But that's only after they literally tell him, "Hey, if you don't, we'll kill you." That plot point doesn't really ever come up again, because he just kind of goes, I'll do it, whatever. But it's a show that basically takes the romantic comedy genre and puts it into a shredder, and then pulls out the bits, rearranges it, and goes, so this is what makes up a romantic comedy, and we're just going to do everything else. The protagonist is kind of a worthless, awful human being who is only really doing it because he has to, and as it goes through, he slowly gains a bit more humanity, but not a huge amount. Like, literally, the manga ends with him still being a bit awful, really. But I love it because it's funny. It breaks down romantic comedies to an absolute T and just gives you everything that romantic comedy does in tiny little segments, and then makes fun of itself for doing it. So it takes a lot of these tropes and uses them as plot devices. So you have, in the second arc, the tsundere character that he sits down and goes, well, here's how you deal with a tsundere character. This is how you always deal with a tsundere character. It's literally in the manual. You have the sporty character that he literally deals with using the manual and stuff like that. It basically takes tropes and makes fun of them. And I kind of loved it as a result of that, because it just was this show that went, here is this genre, here is this medium that's kind of built around tropes, and here's us shooting every single one of those tropes in the head. And it's just good. It's just a very good show that I really enjoyed. And I have, again, read all of the manga. All 26 volumes, I believe. So not a huge amount, but a lot for me. None of it's available in the UK in terms of manga, but I do own all of the anime that is available in the UK on Blu-ray.
It can be found legally at Hugh's house.
It can, in fact, be found legally at my house. Don't worry, guys. But no, I really, really like it. It's one of those ones that I know that people have either not seen, only seen a bit of, or are Ben.
Mi Idoru Watashi Idoru Mindo wo Ichanazo Lovakano Unde Bang Bang! Oh.
Sorry, while it's being bleeped. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Bleep.
Right.
I like the world God only knows.
It was weird as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
Was really weird. Like, it was nothing like what I was expecting.
You think it's going to be a typical rom-com, and it isn't.
Well, I didn't even expect a typical rom-com as a thing, because, like, the guy's established as, the otaku, and I'm like, that's fine, our premise is he's really good at fucking, like, visual novel dating games. Assuming he's going to date people. No, that's not the premise. Okay, alright, what, like, so it turns out he's got to woo the hearts of various girls. So it's basically like a visual novel kind of show. No, not really, because, you don't necessarily dump all the girls, instead it just goes to the next one. Right, okay, and is it like a comedy? No, there's some drama bits. Right, okay.
Huge amount of drama.
It's fucking baffling as a show. Absolutely baffled me.
That's
I
fantastic.
didn't say it wasn't fucking great.
Oh no, I'm pointing out my point. I'll break into your house.
Mate, I know.
Mom, Dad.
Shut up, son. We're getting a divorce and it's your fault.
I love that line so much.
No, I love that one as well. I think it does have some really, really emotional moments that I love. And end of the second season, where he sat on the roof on his own and starts crying, is just such an emotional weighted moment for me, because you can see it building. Even though it's doing kind of funny comedy stuff and kind of wacky hijinks, you see it building behind his eyes the entire time. And then he just lets it out a little bit, and then the third season happens, and it kind of, you can still see it, it's still affecting him, but it's kind of like I have this behind me now sort of thing.
Yeah.
I am depressed as hell that we're never going to get a fourth season, because the third season came out, and about 2 weeks later, the studio went bankrupt.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, it was very soon afterwards.
You know that one meme of like the mostly destroyed Mega Man getting one shot off.
Yes, that's literally what it is. Though it's the only manga that the guy has ever written that was anywhere near popular, and he's basically done nothing since. He wrote this. It is considered one of the greatest mangas ever written, because it is like one of the best rom-com mangas ever written, and then he just did nothing afterwards.
Can I say, it watches like an old manga that's not aged particularly well. I know it's a really weird sentence, but like, I got the vibes that it was old, it was definitely based on a manga, and it was definitely made by someone who never expected to get as popular as it did, because it's clearly his goddamn fucking wet dream.
Yeah, and it works so well because of that, because it breaks everything down properly.
See, I disagree. I don't think it reads I don't think it watches like an old manga in any way, shape, or form. I think it watches like a visual novel trying to like take a little dump on every trope.
It's true, because I think it as an anime, it watches like a manga that's aping a visual novel to me. Like
it's such a weird mishmash of so many different things, and it just works.
Someone made something they liked, and because the thing is, the storyline is based off of like a visual novel kind of thing. Okay, but the problem is that like there's not many visual novels where you can just go from girl to girl, apart from everyone's favorite visual novel, Honey Pop.
Dab.
And god damn, I love that game. No, fucking
Honey Pop 2's coming out soon.
And I will bookmark that for later. And thank you for piquing my interest, Ben. But like, because like,
yeah, something peaked.
Because you know how like. You know how like Clannad is based off a visual novel because it is a visual novel,
and it feels like a visual novel.
And Steins Gate is based off a visual novel because it is a visual novel. It feels like a visual novel. It feels like this is like detached enough from the visual novel genre. Visual novel. Sorry,
it's weird. No, I get exactly what you.
Like it feels detached from that genre by just like a step, because you've got the characters going, look at this dumbass visual novel, turns toward the paper where you've got your Shonen Jump reader reading it, and now we're watching it animated when someone tried to ape that manga. Like it's a mishmash, but a lot of love went into it. I will say that.
There's a reason why it's my number 3. They're like you might be wondering, you might be looking at the facts like Hugh's number 4 and number 3 are both taking well-known genres and breaking them apart and relaying them back out for you. Maybe Hugh likes that sort of thing, because maybe my number 2 does a very similar thing.
Speaking of number 2s, Lewis.
Well, I'll just say one thing briefly before we move on. I have seen.
Oh no, my Segway!
I'm sorry, Ben.
It's fine. I'll drive my Segway into the road.
But yeah, no, I have seen.
Oh, Ben, no! He's been isekai. Gone.
For fuck's sake! I have seen the beginning of this show, and I do not actually know why I haven't actually gone back to it and continued it and finished it off, because I've been meaning to.
All 3 seasons on Crunchyroll.
I know.
I do it.
But yeah, no, what I saw I enjoyed, because particularly for me, considering the guy who watches a fuck ton of rom-coms and a fuck ton of harem shows, and the fact that this literally takes the entire genre and turns it on its head is quite intriguing for me, and just a perspective of like I'm just interested to see more of how it turns one of probably my most watched genres on its head.
Exceptionally well is the answer.
I know this podcast's already going on, but there's definitely a conversation we need to have at some point about the genres we like, because there's definitely trends.
Indeed.